Chapter 1442 Boundless Paragon v. The Final Desperate Counterattack. No problem, Ji Lanfang said immediately, with no hesitation. He sent his points before asking, if you need more, I can go hunting. No need, Wang Wei answered. Take all my points, but I want to see you, Honghua said quickly. Can you ditch the Qin people watching you and meet privately? Wang Wei asked. I'll manage. Good. We got you, Monk and Dulgun said. This place is catered to Qi refiners, so most of my points are for the wife, and we have an excess. I know I could count on you too, Wang Wei replied after seeing how many points these two sent. However, considering Monk's strength, it was understandable, especially since he was ranked 6th on the leaderboard. Don't forget to pay me back, I'm poor, Hong Miling complained, and Wang Wei just nodded. I was helping my disciples hunt to return the borrowed points. I guess you can have them, Emperor Kong added. Thanks. No problem. Are you alright? Su Shi asked. The aura of your tribulation has leaked from the tower, and it looks like punishment instead of a tribulation. I'll manage, Wang Wei replied succinctly, not explaining in detail what was happening to him. I've guarded Time Eater's seal, sacrificed my golden body of merit, and now, I'll hand over my points without asking for return. Is that enough to repay my debt? Ao Shen asked. Fine by me, Wang Wei answered. Was this a fair trade? Probably not. The prosperity of the demon race in the lower race, which Wang Wei is primarily responsible for, is more valuable than any other favors Ao Shen has done for Wang Wei. However, he would not lord over these favors over these people, or they would instead go to extreme lengths to cut off the karma between him. Met too. I want to pay my debt with these points, Yidashu added. Keep dreaming, Wang Wei burst his bubble. Forget it, but Wang Wei boy, you owe me a good fight, the Monkey King said. Come find me after you become a paragon. The other members of the Sword League path have also offered you their points, Jian Wushuang replied. Appreciate it. His Majesty the Heavenly Emperor, no need to return them, but our karma ends here, the Golden Sword Emperor said. No problem, Wang Wei agreed. His connection to the latter was not deep, and their karma was because Wang Wei was primarily responsible for his opportunity to prove the Tao and the prosperity of the lower dimension, which the Golden Emperor benefited from. Everyone involved provided their points, but many complained or tried to bargain to offset their karma. Wang Wei accepted some people, but others were refused since this was not nearly enough for all the things he had done for them. Finally, Wang Wei's point reached a terrifying level. Excellent, he thought before exchanging for more energy to pump into his fate seed characteristic. 6 months soon passed of the remaining year, and Wang Wei was on the verge of success. Unfortunately for him, Grand Tao thought this was the best time to up its effort to eradicate him through this tribulation. The dark clouds stopped bombarding him with lightning and condensed into a humanoid lightning entity with an aura of pure destruction. The terrifying creature did not hesitate before rushing toward the golden scroll to tear it apart with its hands. Wang Wei reacted swiftly by activating his awakening to summon his 11 fate palaces, placing them in a defensive formation. However, after one attack, he knew that this formation would not survive a second. Things are getting a little out of hand, Wang Wei thought before he summoned Red Mask to control the formation, ensuring he was no longer distracted and that she could bring out all its power. Wang Wei's Swift proved to be the correct one as it bought him a few more days, but Grand Tao also displayed its impatience by condensing 2 more humanoid lightning. Damn this bastard, Wang Wei complained. He was so close, but this bastard seemed determined to kill him at all costs. Wang Wei opened his Grand Mist world, summoning all the creation lifeforms under his control. Red Mask arranged these people at their posts to boost the Fate Palace array. The 3 humanoid lightning bombarded the scroll with all kinds of attacks, but the 11 palaces stood between them and their target. Then, a 4th creature appeared. Wang Wei did not wait for the creature to fully condense before immediately sacrificing his Grand Mist world to boost the formation. His action brought him more time, but Wang Wei was not happy yet as he sensed a 5th creature brewing in the clouds. Something is wrong, Wang Wei analyzed. The time it took to create these creatures is too long, especially the fifth one. I thought this bastard was slowly giving me hope before annihilating me, but it seems something more is at play. He did not know what the bastard, Grand Dao, was planning, but he was already in the highest alert mode. Wang Wei also took this opportunity to accelerate his progress. His deductions soon proved to be correct. The tower's atmosphere drastically changed as soon as the fifth creature appeared. The others stopped attacking before getting into a formation with one creature in the front and 4 in the back. The lightning creatures in the back raised their hands to condense 4 characters: creation, destruction, chaos, and fate. The creature at the forefront of the formation then raised its hand to condense the last character, destruction. The other 4 characters turned into a bright light that fused with the destruction character, which in turn transformed into this black-red lightning bolt. This motherf *********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** He summoned his nothingness wheel to form a second layer of protection below the 11 Fate Palace array, with the power of nothingness. He created a third layer of protection with 13 Paragon artifacts that he changed into defensive artifacts with his purpose manipulation technique. The fourth layer was from the Origin Seal continent. Wang Wei summoned the projection of the artificial River of Fate, River of Time, etc., that his wife created. No, this is not enough, Wang Wei thought as his senses still warned him of imminent death. He looked at his Fate Palaces, and with a thought, the 12th palaces condensed. Wang Wei was technically a pseudo-paragon, meaning the last one was only waiting for the final transformation. With the subtle manipulation of his existence, he forced his Tao body to evolve and advance by providing it with energy from the tower. The 11 Fate Palaces array turned into the 12 Fate Palaces array, bolstering the first layer defense, but Wang Wei still did not feel safe. In my name as the Wang clan's patriarch, I summon our clan's Qi Luck dragon to protect me. A projection of a multicolored dragon materialized in this space, forming the fifth layer of protection. 3 crowns appeared underneath the dragon, symbolizing Wang Wei's status as a 3-realm emperor. The crown drew power from the underworld, the laws that governed the Eternal Ascension's world lower dimension, and the prosperity of the people. Under normal circumstances, this sixth layer of protection should have been extremely weak. However, Wang Wei was banking on the fact his grandmother was a Yama king and would provide the power for the Earth Emperor crown, and since he was Heavenly Dao's darling, it would provide the power for the other 2 crowns. His bet was correct. However, Wang Wei still did not feel safe, so he added a 7th layer. His future wife had her own energy vault located in the Source Chi space, and she granted him access to it in an emergency. It was hard to access under the lock, but that was no longer an issue. So, an ocean of energy or Qi formed the last protective layer. Boom! The lightning bolt, which was the embodiment of the ultimate form of destruction, descended from the heavens, bringing with it Grand Dao's supreme wrath. It plowed through these defensive layers like a hot knife cutting through butter. The entire tower trembled, and in a secret location, countless spirits, including Sir Lu, worked tirelessly to prevent that attack from destroying it and affecting the rest of the trial. The light and destruction sound of thunder slowly abated, leaving this vast emptiness even more desolate. Everything seemed over. But was it the end? Is Wang Wei dead? Maybe he survived and had a chance at reincarnation? Is this the end of the journey or another start? Swish! A torn scroll releasing glowing golden lights appeared in the depth of this space. It suddenly turned into a figure with black blood flowing from all his orifices. "I'm the victor," Wang Wei announced. "And I've taken one major step to my freedom." He not only survived but used that powerful lightning bolt to destroy a big chunk from his fate seed status. The chunk was larger than predicted, which was great news for him. The bad news is my existence is beyond the simple description of injured, Wang Wei uttered as he wiped the blood from his nose, but that did not stop it. If he had not developed the prototype of an existence defensive armor, while on the verge of death, he would have been nothing but ash for now. If it were any other time, even the life tower would not be able to heal me, Wang Wei analyzed. Fortunately, a great opportunity is ahead of me. The final step of his transformation is to absorb power from the Grand Tao source to become a genuine paragon, and that's the exact opportunity he needed to repair his existence. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1443 Boundless Paragon 6 Final Transformation. Wang Wei raised his head to look at the 5 lightning creatures. Although their eyes constantly released small electrical pulses, he could sense a higher being observing him through them. So, the two stared at each other for a while before the creatures slowly disintegrated along with the clouds. Then, a river composed of chains and runes manifested before him. Wang Wei did not hesitate to swallow its power like a whale that was starving. With its power, he started existence reconstruction on himself. The destroyed scroll rapidly repaired itself, along with its content. However, Wang Wei was siphoning an ungodly amount of power from the source. Someone with his deep foundation was already destined to absorb significantly more energy for his transformation, but in his current situation, he was absorbing 10,000 times the normal amount, if not more. And it would have been more if Grand Tao did not warn Wang Wei when he tried to cheat and add more things that were not there to his existence. Another good news is Wang Wei almost completed his existence armor, due to the detailed manipulation of his existence during the reconstruction process. He has classified existence armor as a pseudo-transcendent technique, just like the blueprint. He theorized manipulation and confrontation of existence are the essence of transcendent battles. As soon as the construction ended, Wang Wei removed the knowledge seal from his mind, and his cultivation rose to the second heaven, or 92%. Now was the best time to use it since baptism might not be enough to increase his cultivation by 1% if his realm is higher. But I can do better, Wang Wei muttered. He had just escaped a true death experience and broken from one of his shackles, all experiences that fit with his Tao or pursuit. So, Wang Wei closed his eyes and used that experience to enter a state of epiphany, increasing his cultivation by another 1%. Then, there are the final transformations, Wang Wei muttered. He watched his Tao imprint change, followed by the manifestation of his 12 fate palaces. Huh! They are different from the fake one I summoned, Wang Wei immediately noticed. Most cultivators, Tao body, and awakening, will become useless by the Paragon realm. However, a few individuals with deep enough foundations and achievements can evolve great techniques or abilities based on them, and Wang Wei was one of them. He controlled the 12 palaces to resonate with each other, and to his surprises, they slowly turned into a river. A projection of the River of Fate? No, this is a prototype of the River of Fate, and in the source, not Grand Tao. A flash of enlightenment appeared in Wang Wei's eyes as he had an inkling of the way forward. His Tao body had evolved perfectly to suit his Tao and pursuit. Excellent, Wang Wei commented with a smile. The next step was to condense a new grand mist wheel with a grander scale and boosted potential. Wang Wei did not focus too much on that as his body, soul, and spirit had completed the final transformation. His fleshly body reached the second heaven of cultivation, and his soul and willpower reached 98%. I expected a larger improvement, especially for my body. The lightning was ravaging all the aspects and characteristics of his existence, and the pills would heal the damage, thus achieving a form of tempering. However, it seems Grand Tao was cunning and ensured these aspects were not affected too much to prevent Wang Wei from benefiting too much in the likely case he survived. How stingy, Wang Wei cursed before closing his eyes to prepare for the last transformation process. He disappeared from his location, appearing in this river, and was a small fish. He started swimming upward without hesitation, and his body began to grow in size. It did not take him long to become a colossal creature as he reached the river's surface. However, a small voice in the back of his mind kept telling him to return as he was a fish and the top was dangerous. The voice insisted he was a fish and had no business on the surface. Wang Wei ignored the voice and jumped out of the water. He felt another shackle removed from his body, and in response, his fish body turned into an enormous bird that roamed the sky. Wang Wei flew for a few seconds before turning into his human shape. The river of time looked different from a paragon's perspective and the one I saw when I met my future self, he commented as he looked around. This river was not made of strings representing different timelines. Each drop was a super-solid, both properties of liquid and solid, crystal that shone like glitters when glanced from a surface level. These crystals were the purest essence of time, and this river contained an endless amount of them. Have I broken free from the shackles of time? If the Empyrean realm is freeing the self from death and samsara, the Paragon realm's target is time, Wang Wei muttered. Wang Wei looked around as he experienced the difference in realm and life level. However, have we really completely freed ourselves? His gaze peered in the distance. He now could distinguish between the lower end of the river and the upper end. The lower end led to all past and present, and the upper end led to the future. However, the upper stream was blurry and chaotic to him. What about the infinite trichiliocosm? Wang Wei muttered, and his perspective changed. The river before him was surrounded by a golden hue, and countless other rivers or streams were flowing along with it. From another perspective, these rivers could be seen as endless small strings, but it was hard for someone of his level to truly see it that way. That golden hue should be the symbol and protection of the primordial timeline, Wang Wei realized. Should I take a look at the other timelines? It's a good place to hide my Tao mark. Boundless paragons have many ways to survive and revive. The most basic are the evolved, true avatars, and the 7, proxy avatars. The true avatars were no longer confined to one world, and they no longer needed to use the power of samsara to hide themselves. In other words, they did not need to remain mortals and could all cultivate. However, with the restrictions, they cannot be in the same realm as their creator. With all these clones scattered in different chaos worlds, killing a boundless paragon is already a nightmare, but this is not the end of their cockroach survival ability. Proxy avatars have the highest hiding abilities, are almost incorruptible, and their cultivation can be only 1% lower than their creators. Primal paragons can even have all proxy avatars, with a peak cultivation of 100%. But that's still not the end. Boundless paragons can move their Tao mark and hide them anywhere in the world. They could hide it in some random world in the chaos universe, the source chi space, samsara, or even another timeline. Moreover, the mark also acquired a parasitic ability that allowed it to attach itself to a weaker creature's mark and blend with it as if it were one. Boundless paragons were once the pinnacle of the hierarchy, and their survivability was one of the key reasons. Forget it, Wang Wei ultimately decided. He would need to do so in the future, but now was not the best time. Wang Wei did not immediately leave but glanced in the distance. Unlike before, he sensed countless terrifying auras, many of whom had similar auras as him, and a few who casually looked at him made his body instinctively tremble from sheer terror. Wang Wei realized that when he traveled to the past to kill 5 feathers, he was nothing but a small fish swimming among sharks. Although he had some bite, in the grand scheme of things, he was truly small and weak. No wonder only paragons dare navigate the river of time, he thought. Technically speaking, a great emperor could slowly navigate the river of time and even travel through time. They don't do it because of how much restraint heavenly Tao placed on them. However, Wang Wei understood now these restraints were a protective measure for these emperors. He shook his head to remove these thoughts, focusing on what drew him in the first place. I can sense the location of the prehistoric world, Wang Wei thought. He frowned briefly before closing his eyes to sense the karmic thread connected to Earth. His mind traveled through the thread to a distant place, but midway through the journey, Wang Wei stopped. His intuition told him he could send a projection to the prehistoric world and immediately return home in this manner. However, he was not ready yet to meet or confront Hong Jun, so he stopped and cancelled his action. Better safer than sorry, Wang Wei uttered as he opened his eyes. He did not stay long in this place as he returned to the tower. He used his best technique to reduce his aura to the first heaven. He wanted to hide even more but remembered Su Shi's words. People would be suspicious if he survived such a terrifying tribulation and his cultivation was the bare basics like everyone else. Furthermore, he had a perfect explanation for his terrifying tribulation. He forced it to end in just 5 years. Most people will think he is a madman who did something extreme to ensure he took first place in the trial and should not look too deeply into his actions or behaviors. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1444 Humbling Experience So Soon. As he expected, many people were waiting outside the tower when he left. Wang Wei calmly observed these people, even taking a little walk into their sea of consciousness to peep at their thoughts. Most of them think the terrifying tribulation was due to the severe time increase, but that witch from the all-seeing temple has some suspicions. No matter, she probably won't leave this place alive. He sensed many people looking at her with animosity, so eliminating her wouldn't immediately paint a target on his back. Wang Wei shifted his gaze, locking directly into Tian Xian. Why has his animosity decreased so much? Interesting. Wang Wei did not stay long before he teleported to the battle tower. He had no interest in challenging others, but he needed to use the tower to stimulate opponents to test his strength. Let's slowly adapt, Wang Wei thought as he designed an opponent with 90% strength. He sealed his power and experienced the battle in that realm. After battling a few boundless and inextinguishable paragons, he increased his opponent's strength by 1%. He repeated the process until he had completely adapted to his new cultivation. Then, Wang Wei selected a fourth heaven opponent and started testing his battle realm. Wang Wei spent more than 5 years inside the tower, testing the limit of his power and improving his techniques. I do have a 10-fold strength, but I seem to be on the lower end of peak paragons categories. There can be a significant gap between peak paragons, especially between boundless and non-boundless, and this tower made Wang Wei realize the training he had done with Wu Hong before could only take him so far, and he still had much to learn and improve. As for taboo? Well. Wang Wei smiled wryly. Entering the third taboo battle realm was the most challenging. First, Wang Wei needed to become a primal. Then, he needs to develop his skill and power to defeat primals while sealing his strength at 90%. This is going to take a while, Wang Wei sighed. After observing his existence, he noticed the taboo battle realms had their own section and should experience a fundamental transformation at the transcendent realm, so no matter how terrible the upcoming world catastrophe is, Wang Wei will not rush to become half-step transcendent and ensure he has the best foundation. What should I train next? Wang Wei contemplated. I still have plenty of room to improve on skills and technique, so my focus should be survivability. Good, it's decided. He asked the tower for an opponent it considered the best regarding chronospirit battles and finding a person's time mark. Then, a humanoid creature manifested before Wang Wei. He could not see its face due to the tower's protective measures, but he noticed that his opponent had 2 horns. This should be interesting, Wang Wei commented, and he was more correct than he could ever dream. The battle lasted 30 minutes before his opponent found his time mark and killed him. Wang Wei looked at the result in shock. Impossible. He refused to accept this result and fought a second time. He lasted 27 minutes in this round. Well, this was a humbling experience. He exhaled before starting the third match. However, this time around, he controlled his ego to learn from his opponent, and Wang Wei immediately realized the vast difference in skill. Does such an entity truly exist? Wang Wei muttered after his death. When Wu Hong trained him, he knew there was a vast difference in their skills, but he still felt she was still in the realm of achievable skill, but his opponent seemed an unsurpassable wall. Tower spirit, come out, Wang Wei suddenly yelled. He felt these spirits were messing with him because of the previous tribulation. A small spirit wearing black armor with spikes from head to toe appeared before him. Honorable participant, what can I do for you? What's with him? Wang Wei asked directly. Is there an issue? The battle spirit asked. Why is he so skilled? You asked for the best, didn't you? Yes, and? Wang Wei asked. That's what we gave you. You're telling me such a skilled individual exists? Haven't you heard of the absolute killer? That explains your surprise. Wang Wei's lips twitched when the spirit did not explain further. Who is the absolute killer? He's a powerful cultivator that existed during the Soul Age, the battle spirit explained, said to be able to find a person's time mark with a glance. You are pretty capable for lasting 30 minutes despite having just entered this realm. Wang Wei squinted, and he's just a paragon. Of course. Is he alive? Wang Wei asked, slightly intrigued. You really don't know anything, huh? The battle spirit looked at him strangely. Everyone knows the absolute killer created a reign of terror as he cut down countless boundless paragons and primals like they were meat on a cutting board. He almost killed the Ji clan ancestor in one of his most famous battles. Ji clan ancestor? As in, the founder of the Heart Desire Palace? The one and only, the battle spirit nodded. What happened next? The absolute killer was eventually acknowledged as the strongest paragon in the Chaos universe, the spirit responded before shaking his head. It seems his fate was ultimately quite dire. Hubris is one of the greatest flaws of men, no matter how powerful they are, the battle spirit sighed. The bastard was unsatisfied with being the strongest paragon and thought he was the strongest. So, he challenged the primeval body mansion. Wang Wei squinted. In the lower dimension, Wu Hong warned him of two factions, the Heart Desire Palace and the most powerful of them all, the primeval body mansion. She did not say much, just warning him to always be careful when dealing with them until he reached the true pinnacle of the Chaos universe. Recently, after he spoke with Qiuan, Wang Wei decided the primeval body mansion was probably the lineage left over by the body refining true transcendent that ended the Essence Age. So, he's dead? No one can say for sure since he still remembered, but that doesn't mean much for beings on that level, the battle spirit shrugged. However, he was never seen in the universe since that day. I see, Wang Wei nodded. Does anyone know why he was so capable? Not really. Some say he was a special time race, others believe he had a unique treasure, but the majority believe he was that skilled. If he is that skilled, he might have acquired or developed a pseudo-transcendent technique like I did, Wang Wei analyzed. Well, thank you for answering my question, Wang Wei saluted politely. Now that he knew this was not a joke, this ultimate killer became someone he must overcome. No problem, but it's time for you to leave. What do you mean? You're running out of points. What? Wang Wei checked, and his face turned ugly. I thought the battle tower was free. Under normal circumstances, but you asked for the best training partner, so we must charge you. Although his face was hidden, anyone could tell this battle spirit was putting on a fake expression of confusion. Wang Wei stared at him, knowing he had been scammed. However, he did not say anything else and left. Swish. Sir Lu appeared in the tower. Was this really wise? He's basically this trial's victor, so we can only do this if we want him to stay longer and use more points. The situation is already complicated as is. Do we really want to make more enemies? Sir Lu sighed. This cannot be considered making enemies, it is just a small confrontation that we can make up to him if necessary, the battle spirit responded. I hope we don't regret this decision, Sir Lu said before disappearing. An irresistible bait, huh? Wang Wei thought. He had to admit he could not stop using the battle tower. His pride or the idea that someone was skilled enough to kill him in less than an honor will not accept his current skill level, so no matter what, he must use the tower to improve. However, I'm the one who cons other people, not the other way around. A glint flashed in his eyes as he flew to his mountain. As soon as he arrived, the first thing he did was open a portal to another dimension with a black cocoon at the center. The cocoon was releasing an intense aura, but it kept fluctuating, a sign of someone undergoing a transformation. It should take a while before Red Mask is done, he thought. During the tribulation, he sent a small piece of her soul to the tower at the last minute. And now that he had become a paragon, she too would transition into one due to the Lord's Shadow technique. However, she was severely injured and needed more time to heal and transform. It's a shame I've lost my hunting companion since I have such a massive debt, but it couldn't be helped, Wang Wei muttered. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1445 Why is the past so important? Wang Wei did not rush to start hunting. Instead, he took the time for a few small tasks that required his attention. First, he had to recreate the lives of his Grand Mist world and set up training for them to ensure they could pass the Tier 12 creation tribulation. Once that was dealt with, he recondensed his nothingness wheel. The thing was technically useless to him since he no longer needed it for the Empyrean taboo battle realm. However, Wang Wei's body refining also required the power of nothingness, and this will would become applicable. The amount of nothingness power that my bloodline can absorb is no longer on par for my needs, Wang Wei analyzed. So, it's probably best to fuse the wheel into my blood, turning it into an ability. Since he had a plan, Wang Wei did not hesitate and took action. The process was smooth, with no interruption or trouble. Now, that's better, Wang Wei thought as he sensed the optimization of his bloodline. However, I still need to start considering the 12th revolution of my bloodline. His human fiend god was technically only tier 11. Wang Wei frowned as he thought about the direction of his bloodline. As long as he updates his previous abilities, which involve will tempering and strength increase, the bloodline should be enough to take him to the peak of the elder fiend god realm. But is this all a fiend god bloodline can do? I would be disappointed if it were. Wang Wei shook his head. It was not time to be thinking about these things. He knew the sect had fiend god blood in reserve, so he'll know the answer once he's home. Next, let's check my existence. He closed his eyes and reached the fundamental blueprint of his existence. Wang Wei focused on the fate seed aspect. The entire thing was not completely removed. After all, this was something that Grand Tao planted on him probably during his birth/creation on Earth, so he did not expect to remove all of it when he was just a small and weak paragon. Regardless, this tribulation allowed him to take a major step toward his freedom. The fact that he could break such a good portion while in the Paragon realm meant subsequent removal would become 1,000 times easier, and not just because his cultivation would be higher. The question is, what immediate effect will this thing have on me? Wang Wei thought as he sensed the changes to his existence due to the Fate Seed status. My affinity with Fate Dao has decreased by at least 15%. Wang Wei could say few people were as compatible with their Daos as him. He even created countless physiques and fused them to ensure maximum affinity. But now, this was no longer the case. That's not an issue, Wang Wei thought calmly. A maximum with a Dao has its perks but also its downfall, primarily that his affinity with other Daos was reduced. The previous maximum affinity meant I had a lower affinity with Daos involving free will, independence, or choice. Now that it's no longer the case, I can make better improvements to my Freedom Dao. Wang Wei hasn't used his Freedom Dao much in combat since he took it from Zheng Chao, but this situation could be the start. Let's see, what else? He observed and sensed the changes in his existence. My destiny is no longer full of ups and downs, Wang Wei thought excitedly. Trouble was drawn to him harder than magnets, and he had deduced two primary reasons that were interconnected. Fate wanted to mold him into the perfect inheritor to take the Fate Cardinal's place, so it threw challenge after challenge at him as a training method. Meanwhile, his future self was doing the same to ensure he grew up to be that version of the future and escape all the shackles on him. It's good that my life will have less trouble following it, Wang Wei mused. But something still bothers me. Why does my future self care so much about the past? Shouldn't someone in his life have already transcended the shackles of time and space? If someone has transcended time, then two things should become true. First, their past is locked, and no one can change or affect it. Second, which is the most likely scenario, their past is irrelevant to them. They are beings whose past, present, or future events cannot influence them. So, even if someone traveled to the past and killed young Wang Wei, future Wang Wei would be completely fine and not affected in any manner. Could there be some rules in this chaos universe that limit transcendent on that level? Or is something like people on the same level can influence each other's past? Wang Wei frowned. These explanations made sense logically, but his intuition told him some unknown shenanigans he was unaware of were happening. I should put this on the list of things to investigate, he concluded before opening his eyes. Now that he knew his life would be more peaceful, he was more confident in his plan to be more low-key and move from the shadows. It's also about time I dealt with that thing, Wang Wei thought as he sensed the countless memories sealed in his mind, along with the horrifying amount of negative karma. Unfortunately, this task required time, so he'd have to wait until the lock was gone and he had more opportunities for leisure activities. All right, hunting time, Wang Wei said as he stood up, ready to repay his debt. However, he suddenly sensed something and waved his hand to manifest 3 crowns. Then, these symbols of powers trembled before condensing the projection of an elegant and dignified figure. Interesting. Using your human and heavenly emperor position to communicate with me secretly, that's quite ingenious. These damn Qin people are stuck to me like leeches, Honghua cursed. She had a simple black robe on with dragon designs on her cuffs. Her attire was nothing compared to her former majestic emperor robes, but her demeanor still remained majestic. I had to find a way to contact you in secret. Well, adversity and stress is a good way to force creativity, Wang Wei commented. Cultivators are a group of people that are most dangerous when they are desperate. I'm guessing you're here for your rescue. That's right, Honghua nodded. You're the only person who can help me. Wang Wei pondered. When I negotiated with the Qin court, they were very confident you could not escape their grace. These people know my strength and what I'm capable of, but yet, they did not seem to fear that I would kill all your guards and take you away. What is the source of their confidence? They probably did something to me. Oh. Not long ago, they knocked me out, but when I woke up, I couldn't detect anything wrong with my body or soul, Honghua explained with gritted teeth. I see. In that case, let's check your body, Wang Wei nodded as he pointed his finger to her forehead. He found the karma thread between the projection and the real body and used it to spy on the real Honghua. You're right, they did leave something in you. What did they do? She immediately asked. It's both a tracking mark and a potent void-breaking talisman that could probably ignore 999% of spatial restrictions in the world, Wang Wei said, and the only reason he did not say 100% was because he did not like to deal in absolutes. Can you take it out? Honghua asked, almost pleading. The bad news is probably not, Wang Wei said seriously. What? This mark is placed on your existence, and more importantly, it involves the power of transcendence? Transcendence? Honghua asked in confusion. The 2 suns? Exactly. Her face instantly paled. However, she immediately took a deep breath to calm down. You said bad news. Implying there is some good news. Wang Wei secretly praised her for regaining her composure so soon. Yes, there is some good news. The people who put the mark were essentially controlling a power beyond their means or understanding, leaving many flaws that can be exploited. Honghua frowned. I'm confused. Can you or can you not save me? I can't save you, Wang Wei shook his head. He could barely control his existence, let alone others. There was a reason he had to allow the tribulation to completely wipe out his body and soul so that he could revert to that scroll state and control his existence. And honestly speaking, if not for his experience during the Perfect Foundation establishment, his plan would not have worked. Honghua was about to be disappointed when he heard Wang Wei's following words. I can't help you, but you can help yourself. How? She immediately asked. Here is what you can do, Wang Wei uttered before explaining his plan. Isn't this too dangerous? Honghua hesitated. Your situation requires this level of risk. Fine, I'll do it. I thought you would think about it more, Wang Wei replied, not hiding his surprise. I can't stay in that damn place anymore, Honghua said with gritted teeth. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1446. Zheng's threat. Wang Wei looked at her strangely. They didn't, inhumanely torture you, did they? He had to ask due to how much hatred she displayed toward the Qin people. Inhuman torture? Oh, thank heavens, no, Honghua responded swiftly. They just restricted my freedom and tried to influence me to marry their stupid and ugly-looking prince. That's good to hear, but you should be careful nonetheless, Wang Wei answered before summoning a scroll and started writing using the Dao text. It took him a few minutes before handing it to her. This technique is the final key, Wang Wei explained. Although he couldn't directly help her control her existence, he could create a way for her to do so passively by subtly manipulating her acupoints, soul, and body. Thank you. Do you have a void-breaking talisman potent enough for the plan? No, Honghua admitted in embarrassment. Wang Wei did not say anything else and granted her one. She sighed. Once again, words cannot express the level of gratitude I am indebted to you. No problem, Wang Wei answered casually. Your wife is safe with me for now, and you can pick her up if you successfully gain your freedom. Before that, I wish you good fortune. Honghua bowed politely before her projection dissipated, leaving Wang Wei in deep thought. How did Zheng get his hands on transcendent power? Is it some kind of artifact or a source of power? More importantly, did he get it before or after the ultimate taboo? Wang Wei entered his state of deduction, trying to piece the puzzle from threads of information. Honghua said they only recently placed the mark on her, meaning it's possible Zheng shared this power with his court after our confrontation at the Great Chu Court. He couldn't possibly have done it before since he was hiding in limbo, and Supreme Unity had his eyes on him. However, after Maitreya blessed these people, they could remain invisible to Supreme Unity's eyes. However, is transcendent power so easily controlled? The time between the Great Chu event and the trial was too short for these people to have created a method to utilize the power of transcendence, unless they had someone whose talent was on par with mine and used an extreme method like the mind dilation pill. Wang Wei frowned. The possibility of that being the case was low, so he had to consider another possibility. Zheng had it before the ultimate taboo. But if that's true, why did no one know about it before? Zheng is capable enough to hide from his peers in the Golden Generation, but Supreme Unity and Maitreya would have sniffed it out. Maitreya may have been capable of protecting the Qin court for a while, but during the Lock era, where her performance was less than desired, Supreme Unity would have gotten his hands on the thing long ago. Unless the hypothetical artifact or source of power is of higher essence than these two and capable of hiding itself unless. Does such a thing exist, and where did Zheng find it? As soon as Wang Wei asked that question, he had an answer. The prehistoric world, he thought. Although it's possible Zheng acquired it from the first chaos world he reincarnated into, the most likely scenario is someone, most likely Hongjun, handed it to him. But why? Wang Wei recalled various information as he slowly outlined the truth. I theorized that Hongjun was reincarnating people for the future of the prehistoric world. Now that I think about it, it's possible he knew about the all-heaven fate calamity before the all-seeing temple and wanted to prepare in advance. Wang Wei's lips twitched. If that was true and his theory that the calamity was his creation, Hongjun was essentially preparing for a catastrophe that he created. Wang Wei shook his head to focus. Such truth was even more reason he needed to hide the fact he might be the person from the prophecy. Chronologically speaking, Zheng existed 2,000 years before my time, so he was most likely part of Hongjun's early experiment at reincarnating people into other worlds, Wang Wei continued. Maybe Hongjun needed an item as powerful as that to allow the people from Earth to reincarnate into other worlds, or maybe he was more generous the first time around. Well, that doesn't matter too much, the key is the item. In all of the novels and myths written about Hongjun, his most remarkable artifact is always the jade butterfly pendant. In most iterations, this thing contains the essence of all 3,800 Daos. Did he give it to Zheng? Probably just a piece, but even so, he must have had great hope on him to do so. Wang Wei sneered. If that is true, I feel bad for Hongjun. Zheng's suspicious nature probably prevented him from using the pendant, especially after knowing its power. Otherwise, with such an item and an overwhelming advantage, he would have long entered the half-step transcendent realm. Well, I guess I can't blame him too much since I probably would have done the same, Wang Wei concluded. The last thing he would do is trust his transcendent path to Hong Jun or anyone else. He might have used the pendant to ensure he became a primal as swiftly as possible, but he would never use it on his transcendent path. However, it appears that Zheng no longer has any hesitation, Wang Wei continued. During his talk with the Qin people, he noticed they started acting bolder and more aggressive, and now he understood why. I previously predicted that the future wife will be our world's first transcendent. While my thoughts haven't changed, now I know Zheng is a viable contender. Wang Wei squinted his eyes. Honghua cannot return to the Qin court. He must do whatever is necessary to delay Zheng's path. Otherwise, if he is the first one to enter that realm, he will immediately conquer the eternal ascension world, and sadly, Mithraya's weak and unstable transcendent realm will not be able to stop him. The best move to make right now is not just to free Honghua but to send her to other chaos worlds and further delay the Qin court, Wang Wei strategized. He looked in the distance before flying toward the hunting area. Who is this woman? As he flew to his destination, Wang Wei noticed a woman dressed in man's clothing. She had an all-red robe and flowing dark hair, but the tips were pink. I remember everyone in the trial, but she was not one of them. More importantly, she's just like Tian Xian and Chengming. I can't see any information from her besides the surface level. Wang Wei decreased his flying speed slightly while observing. Her temperament reminded me of Suya. She probably has a similar physique in Dao. Is she also from the Heart Desire Palace? But why is she here and acting separately from Chengming? Wang Wei continued flying. Wait, she's not the only one. He instantly realized they were numerous people he had never seen before or people he had someone passively ignored. Luckily, his senses had drastically improved after becoming a Boundless Paragon. I see. These foreign transcendent factions have sent their descendants to this trial, Wang Wei realized. But why are they all acting so suspicious? A better question is, do they even need the use of the trial? A bolt of lightning suddenly flashed in his mind. They don't care about using the trial, they want complete control of it, Wang Wei analyzed. He was only thinking about analyzing and copying the trial's power, but these forces were already planning how to take it over. The power of this trial is indeed mystical, probably involving transcendent in one way or another. There are probably other secrets at play. Wang Wei deduced. They almost noticed me, Wang Wei thought. Two people almost noticed his spying, the woman dressed like a man and a tall, muscular man who was obviously a body refiner. Is he from the primeval body mansion? But why doesn't he give me the same vibe as that woman and Chengming? Wang Wei felt great danger from these people, probably because some transcendent powerhouse left some protective means on them. However, he did not feel the same as that muscular man. It's either the power is too high for even me to sense, he does not have it, or he's from the mansion, and they are proud and arrogant enough not to protect their heaven chosen because no one dares mess with their people, Wang Wei thought. Regardless, this trial just got a lot more interesting, Wang Wei thought with a smirk on the corner of his mouth. He loves danger and chaos when he's not directly involved since he can benefit from it from the shadow. So, he hoped he was right, and these factions were planning something big. I still need to prepare, Wang Wei concluded. He wanted to reach the fifth heaven as soon as possible so he could leave this place at a moment's notice and he wouldn't miss much. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1447 The Clash of Ego. As soon as Wang Wei reached the hunting area, he started killing the bestowal monster. He also used a Tier 12 puppet since he was now in the Paragon realm. However, Wang Wei's actions were merely a distraction. While his body was hunting, his mind used his soul ability for the first time in the current realm. Wang Wei immediately noticed the difference. First, he saw a small cluster on the map, which indicated the souls in this trial. Next to this map was a vast cluster that gave a sense of familiarity. That should be the Eternal Ascension world. He moved to the second large cluster. The entire map was black and inaccessible. Is this the prehistoric world? So, the soul network has expanded to a scale on par with the chaos universe but focusing on the karma connected to me? Wang Wei was immediately excited by this promise and kept changing the following map. He saw an enormous map formed from numerous clusters combined. Is this a chaos world that combines numerous worlds? But what's my relationship with this place? An idea suddenly flashed in his mind. Is this where Wang Ju reincarnated? Wang Wei immediately closed his eyes and tried to access the souls in these worlds. However, he didn't take a few seconds to give up. He could access these worlds, but reinforcing his connection to them would take a long time. Let's see if I can find my father, Wang Wei thought as he continued analyzing this map. Unfortunately for him, he discovered many worlds he had connections with, making it more than challenging to determine whether his parents were somehow teleported to another chaos world. These worlds should be the result of Wang Ju expanding the Fate's Shadow Guard and whatever my soul did in primordial chaos, Wang Wei groaned. After becoming a paragon, he noticed his ancestors placed a seal on his soul to hide his identity when he was a soul in primordial chaos. Although I don't have a concrete answer, this is a good start, Wang Wei thought. This ability should make it easier to find his parents, wherever they are. Back to my objective. Wang Wei focused on the trial's small cluster of souls. He noticed a few living souls he could not influence. This would not be surprising with how many transcendent descendants are present in this place, but these souls were weak and had a connection to him. Additionally, these souls were attached to foreign powers. These souls are the Eternal Ascension world's people, and it seems they have been captured, Wang Wei analyzed, and as soon as he read the data, he understood what was happening. These foreign worlds realized they could not get any information from the Eternal Ascension world, so they captured these people to bring them back to their factions and see if they could break the lock. These souls must die, Wang Wei decided. However, he could not do it now as these people could just capture more. So, he has to wait until the end of the trial when most of the Eternal Ascension world participants leave to kill these captured individuals. Luckily, there is no power of transcendence protecting these souls, Wang Wei sighed in relief. These powerhouses did not care too much about these captured individuals, so the protection on them was not the best they could provide. Such a flaw was something Wang Wei could exploit. He continued his objective by pulling the souls of the Dao opening sect people and the participants he had a good relationship with into a hidden dimension for a minor assembly. What's going on? Someone asked, scared of how sudden everything happened. It's me, Wang Wei said, and everyone felt relieved. At least, it was not an unknown enemy. Did something happen? Emperor Kong asked. Yes, Wang Wei nodded. Some shenanigans are about to happen in this trial, and I decided to give you a warning. The people who came to this place without reaching the peak of the Empyrean realm, I implore you to leave as soon as you become a paragon. For the peak Emperors, take a deep look within and truthfully assess whether you have a chance at those top positions. If not, you better leave after becoming a paragon as well. Regardless, you all should be on the lookout. Everyone listened to him attentively with a frown. These words sounded too alarming, and some instinctively felt someone was fear-mongering out of nothing, but given the source, they had to control their initial jerk reaction and take it seriously. What exactly do you mean by shenanigans? Emperor Kong asked. I guess I can tell you, Wang Wei said before raising his hand to summon the history lock. With this protection, the chances of news leaking were minimal. I've detected a few transcendent factions have secretly sent their people to infiltrate this place. If I guess correctly, their target should be to take control of this trial, so you can expect chaos at some point in the future. Transcendent? I believe that's the realm of the two suns. Aren't we ants before these two, even if we become boundless? We are. With this short conversation, everyone understood the severity of this situation. Only 2, 3 if you count Monk, have entered the Paragon realm, but even scarier people were already involved. Are you sure about this? Emperor Kong asked. He didn't want to question Wang Wei, but he hadn't noticed much and wanted some reassurance. You're in my realm, and with a decent detection technique, you might not see the invisible ones, but you should be able to detect the ones who make you passively ignore them, Wang Wei replied. But don't reveal yourself, or you'll be dead. I understand. Anyhow, I've warned you, and it's up to you whether you listen, Wang Wei continued. And don't worry, I will still repay your points. Wang Wei did not wait for anyone else to speak and dismissed everyone. He only warned them to make up for the karma some of these people had already paid, and because the Eternal Ascension world needed these talents to survive the upcoming catastrophe. With that out of the way, Wang Wei focused on his hunting but had to stop after only 1 year. A vision had appeared in the distance. Chengming had become a boundless paragon. Based on aura alone, if I had to quantify his realm, it's probably 95%, but Tian was 9,999%, Wang Wei thought. Speaking of Tian, he's been blatantly observing me without taking any action. What is he planning? A technique has been observing him from afar, and from Wang Wei's standards on how easy this thing was to notice, Tian was not hiding his purpose. Plum Blossom Daoist and Tian, you have 10 years of breathing remaining, Chengming's voice boomed throughout the trial. Keep your neck clean for these 10 years. This guy has gone beyond the scope of arrogance, Wang Wei's lips twitched. He watched as Chengming entered the battle tower, probably getting acclimated to his new power. Whatever, Wang Wei muttered before continuing hunting. The 10 years passed swiftly, and with his terrifying strength, Wang Wei repaid his debt and had enough points to use again. Where are you two cowards? Chengming screamed as soon as he exited the tower. Who dares to challenge me first? Wang Wei calmly looked at him from a distance, and Chengming detected him, and they locked eyes. What? Are you scared? Wang Wei put his finger into his nose, controlled his body to create a booger, and picked it before flinging it into the rock near him. His disregard proved highly effective as veins popped on Chengming's neck, and his eyes changed to red. So, he does cultivate emotion Dao, Wang Wei analyzed. Chengming was about to rush toward Wang Wei's location when Tian's potent aura flew from the Dao Tower. Little ant, you want to challenge me? Tian asked casually, but his arrogance and disdain flew so effortlessly from his body that it felt natural. It was like it was a natural law of heaven and earth for this man to be arrogant, like it was his birthright to look down on all sentient beings. Interesting, Chengming said with a grin. The veins in his neck were gone, but the redness in his eyes intensified. Anyone who knew him understood his rage had reached such a level that it had transformed into this cold wrath. Someone dares to be more arrogant than me, Chengming said. Do you dare fight in a life and death battle in the tower? I don't care if you want to experience your funeral so soon, Tian calmly responded. But I won't fight you for a stupid thing like pride, so wager all your points. And please don't tell me you're broke. The void around Chengming twisted briefly before returning to calm. He waved his hand to send a talisman, and a few seconds later, he received a batch of points. I will enjoy destroying that beautiful face of yours. It's okay. You won't be the first ugly man who tried. I'm used to your kind's jealousy, Tian countered. Damn, Wang Wei thought. Who knew he had a mouth on him? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1448 Tian vs. Chengming. As soon as they entered the tower, Sir Lu appeared between them. Do you guys understand the rules? You have chosen a life and death battle, meaning no outside interference until one person dies. We know, Chengming said coldly. No, you don't understand. If someone loses, the tower will be responsible for annihilating the loser, whether they are a boundless paragon or not. That's what you are agreeing to. Tian and Chengming frowned as they understood the implications. Their kind was not easy to kill, so their current animosity might be resolved when they realized the difficulty of killing each other. But under the trial's rules, this was a true life-and-death battle. That's fine by me, Tian said first. I am no coward, Chengming replied, still prideful and confident. Good, Sir Lu nodded with a smile. Since they know the rules and agree, no one can complain to them afterward. According to the trial's rules, your battle will be exhibited to other participants at a price. 80% of the proceeds will go to the victor, and the rest to us. Is that understood? Stop wasting time. Don't rush me, Sir Lu complained. One last thing, do you want to choose an environment for this battle or fight in the void? If this loser needs to choose an environment to give himself an advantage, I don't mind, Tian said casually. The void is fine, Chengming replied. Anyway, everything will be destroyed, and unlike what his bastard of an opponent suggested, he did not need an advantage. Then, let this fight begin, Sir Lu announced. The people outside had already paid an exorbitant price for this fight, and through their token, they could watch it as if they were next to the fighters. As soon as Sir Lu uttered these words, Tian and Chengming started the fight with an aura clash. Tian's cultivation has reached the first heaven, Wang Wei immediately noticed, but that was the least of his surprise. That aura, he's a Dao overlord. His aura was not of someone who used an outlaw Dao but was granted an exception by Grand Dao, but that of someone who passed the outlaw trial. Well, it makes sense. If Grand Dao wanted someone to stop me, it has to be someone who can match me physically and intellectually, Wang Wei analyzed calmly as he continued watching this battle. The two participants started stacking their strength, and in a few seconds, they both reached eightfold of the battle realm. As expected, this Chengming is not simple, Wang Wei thought. Tian's cultivation was higher than the latter, but Chengming's battle realm reached the same level. More importantly, Wang Wei discovered one of the techniques the latter used for stacking involved obsession, and it was more refined than Su Shi's or his technique. Swish. The two teleported toward each other and punched forward. The energy wave created by their clash would have devastated worlds if not for their current environment, but no one cared about that. In this clash, Tian remained in place while Chengming flew back a few meters. I forgot you people are a bunch of savage gorillas who value your flesh over your soul, Chengming sneered before using another technique, Spirit Essence Harmony. His powerful soul resonated with his body, fueling its ascension. So, in a matter of seconds, Chengming's weak, fleshly body reached the level of inextinguishable paragons. Your clan still hasn't figured out the importance of the body? No wonder your founder failed. You take that back. Did I say something wrong? It's not my fault if you people inherited his stupidity, Tian responded calmly. It did not help that he said these words with such a handsome face and an aura that his words were the laws or truths of heaven and earth. This guy is not stupid, so why is he antagonizing the Heart Desire Palace to such an extent? Is he really that confident about Grand Dao's protection? Wang Wei thought. His senses have already detected that the woman dressed in men's clothing was looking at Tian with intense killing intent after what he said. Good. 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 Chengming repeated thrice. You dare insult my ancestor? Good. My name will no longer be Ji if I don't eradicate you from this mortal coil. Horror Soul, Chengming used his unique soul and emotion Dao to artificially create a soul creature, and as soon as the thing appeared, everyone, including Wang Wei, was shocked. The creature was humanoid with an octopus head and red eyes. However, its appearance was not the shocking aspect, but its presence. Anyone who laid eyes on this creature felt an overwhelming sense of dread and horror that rapidly consumed their souls. Luckily, the trial activated their protection mechanism, or most of these participants would have become mad and killed themselves. That's Cthulhu, Wang Wei thought. The Heart Desire Palace must have studied Cthulhu's body to create this technique. Wang Wei has theorized the creature in the abyss was nothing but a projection or a follower of the real Cthulhu. Now, he had further proof for his theory. This revelation has so many implications, Wang Wei thought as he focused on Tian. The latter's body was releasing an aura of revolt and disgust, it appeared that the horror creature summoned was the vilest and most disgusting thing between heaven and earth. These emotions are not from him, but his status as Grand Dao's son/vessel, Wang Wei analyzed. My conjecture was correct. Cthulhu did not originate from this chaos universe but was an intruder from Chengming or another chaos universe. That's why Grand Dao finds it so revolting. It represents the fact this universe has been invaded and contaminated by foreign entities. Wang Wei squinted his eyes. According to myths, the elder gods can create endless clones, so it's possible the one in this universe was one of Thulan's endless clones. Wang Wei rapidly confirmed and deduced many things from this one technique. I always knew and operated under the premise that the stories and myths from Earth were real or contained some level of truth. Now, I know for a fact that's true. This anomaly explains why Grand Dao is so interested in that world, but what is that so? Grand Dao is obviously not responsible for the uniqueness of Earth, otherwise, he wouldn't need to summon a fate seed from there to enact Earth's ideas for the development of the chaos universe. It appeared that returning to Earth is more important than I thought, Wang Wei concluded. Die, you foul creature, Tian roared as he manipulated his destruction Dao to summon lightning bolts and fling them so intensely that people would think this was the immeasurable tribulation. Scream of madness, the horror creature opened its mouth to scream, releasing a black aura from its mouth that blocked the bolts of lightning bolts. Not affected? Chengming thought. This technique was enough to destroy the will of some of the best inextinguishable paragons, but this person seemed completely fine. Then, let's add to it. Nightmare Soul, another creature appeared. It was humanoid but without a face or other noticeable features since its body was composed of darkness. The creature had no legs and a floating cloak instead. As soon as it appeared, a resonance formed between the two creatures, and Tian's body stopped mid-attack. A look of struggle flashed on his face, but he reacted swiftly by destroying all distractions and influence on his mind. Wrath of heaven and earth, Tian waved his hand to manifest an enormous red dark hand that embodied destruction itself. The hand was large enough to target everyone on this battlefield, so it descended with the utmost impunity. Chengming was about to respond with a technique on his own, but Tian was faster, resistance destruction. By destroying his opponent's resistance, Chengming and the two creatures stood by without moving. Even their minds operated at an immensely slow speed to prevent them from coming up with any countermeasures. Boom! The destruction hand annihilated everything in its path, or so it should have. The creatures were gone, but Chengming was surrounded by a soul shield boosted by his Dao will. Wang Wei noticed something. His Dao will is alive. No, it's better to say Chengming instilled independent emotions and desires into his Dao will, creating a pseudo-intelligent creature whose sole purpose is to aid him in battle and protect him when necessary. What a brilliant application of Dao will. Such a level of technique is what he would expect from a transcendent faction, and of course, Wang Wei will steal all of them and put his own twist on them. Nice try, Chengming sneered. But your nightmare has just started. The destroyed creatures suddenly appeared once again, staring coldly at Tian. Fear Soul, Chengming summoned a third creature, which was another humanoid creature, except it had thousands of eyes all over its body. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1449 Tian vs. Chengming, 2. Do you understand your purpose? The reason for your existence? Yes, I won't let you down. Too slow, your progress is too slow. Wang Wei has passed his Supreme Outlaw trial. I won't lose to him. Good, you have proven your intelligence is on par with him. However, it's not enough. His 9-extremity foundation is almost complete, but you haven't even started it. I will get to it. How can you be so useless? You are the son of Grand Dao, born with the greatest blessing between heaven and earth. What did I do wrong this time? Wang Wei has become the second mortal emperor in the universe. If you want a chance at beating him, you must be the third. I will do my best. What? Are you satisfied that you proved the Tao before him? Well, I can tell you he became an immeasurable emperor, the very first in the universe, meaning your small achievement means nothing. How can I be an immeasurable emperor? It's too late for you. However, he is planning a way to bind his existence to the heavenly emperor era he is creating. Why don't you try copying him? It'll create an era even more glorious than him. You did a decent job. The next competition is the Taboo Battle Realms. You cannot lose to him in those. I will not lose. I will not lose. A hole appeared in Tian Xian's eyes as he flew into the distance. The horrible pain had awakened him from the nightmare surrounding his greatest fear. He noticed his mind was once again slipping and reacted swiftly by destroying all negative effects on his mind, soul, or spirit. Tian Xian now had control over his body, but this attack severely injured him. His Tao will is a nasty piece of work, he analyzed. The combination of Tian Xian's Tao will and willpower manifestation could barely seal Chengming's, and that's despite the fact his true will contains some of the essence of his destruction Tao. Luckily, his soul was well protected by an excellent soul artifact and many other techniques, so it was not affected. A yin-yang symbol materialized next to Tian Xian, transforming his destruction Tao into creation. Then, a new and perfect replica of Tian Xian appeared in the symbol. Tian Xian then transferred his soul into this new body, thus perfectly healing his previous injury. It's useless, Chengming said as his three summoned souls started resonating with each other for a second attack. Tian Xian controlled his former shelf as a puppet, forcing it to attack the three souls. Chengming raised his hand to create three pillars full of grievances. He planned to seal this shell and buy enough time for his attack to hit. However, Tian Xian was ruthless and immediately exploded the puppet, releasing a devastating amount of pure destructive power. This attack wiped out everything in sight except for the protective measures around Chengming. Swish! Tian Xian destroyed the distance between himself and his opponent, achieving a terrifying high-speed teleportation. He appeared behind Chengming, holding a sword condensed for destruction. Die, he yelled. Do you think I would fall for such an obvious tactic? Chengming sneered as a golden creature with wings appeared around him. His spirit of fortitude, condensed from one of the 7 heavenly virtues, was the ultimate form of protection. Swish! Tian Xian's sword passed through his defense like it was empty air before him, leaving a gushing wound. How is that possible? Chengming was shocked as he distanced himself from his opponent. Tian Xian would not pass this opportunity and continued his aggressive approach. Chengming reacted swiftly by recondensing his 3 souls, and each soul immediately created a universe to block Tian Xian's path. This approach was effective, as it took some time to destroy the nightmare, horror, and fear universe. Meanwhile, Chengming took this opportunity to analyze why the previous attack failed. It's luck Tao. This bastard destroys all probabilities or possibilities that could block his sword, allowing it to accidentally pass through a flaw in my defense. Chengming looked at the slash wound on his chest with gritted teeth. Luckily, these lowly people have a shoddy application of true will. It only took him a moment to remove Tian Xian's true will and regenerate. Swish! Chengming moved his head to evade the destruction arrow before focusing on his opponent. Tell me, what is your obsession? Chengming asked with a smirk. Tian Xian did not answer but fired another arrow. The spirit of virtue slashed the arrow away with a sword of light. It seems you have 2 obsessions, and they somehow contradict one another, Chengming continued. The first one seems to be to overthrow someone and stop living in their shadows. Interesting, there is actually someone who can make you obsessed with them. Tian Xian released a rain of arrows, but it was useless. The spirit of virtue condensed a shield, and with his sword, no harm came to its master. Your second obsession seems to be hidden quite well, so I can't even read it, Chengming continued. However, we have plenty of time. He chuckled before going on the offensive. He first combined the horror soul with the fear soul, turning into a humanoid creature with 4 arms, an octopus head, and numerous eyes on all parts of its body. This new horror then looked at Tian, and his body started mutating. His left arm began to grow muscles and tissues uncontrollably, turning into this large and grotesque red abomination. Tian was calm. As a body refiner, this was not the first time he had faced such a situation, so he focused on regaining control. Sadly, this mutation was more aggressive and uncontrollable than the true power Dao realm tribulation, so he swiftly cut off his arm and regrew another. He teleported away, thinking this creature required sight to cast his technique, but he was only half right. The first attack required sight, but the subsequent ones used their karmic link, which Tian swiftly detected and destroyed. However, what awaited him was Chengming's 4th summons, the Soul of Regret. A bright red heart that was more than 20 meters in length and had a black dagger piercing through it manifested, and as soon as it appeared, the heart started to beat. Tian, who was mid-attack, found himself in this white space with fog. His first instinct was to destroy everything, but he stopped himself when the fog condensed into the shape of a woman. Her face was vague, but the woman's contour indicated she was beautiful and had an aura of endless gentleness. Tian calmly looked at the woman, and despite her lack of a visage, he could tell she was smiling. She raised her hand to him, and he unknowingly reached out. Unfortunately, before he could touch her, she collapsed before turning into another woman dressed in all black clothes with black nails, black and red eyeshadows, and dark lipstick. The woman was breathtakingly beautiful with her ancient aura of power and darkness. "Don't forget who you are betrothed to," she declared. "So, you gave up the love of your life for an arranged marriage? Is that your regret? What a cliché story." Chengming sneered echoed in this dimension, plunging Tian into a blind rage as he destroyed this spiritual realm. Unfortunately, what awaited him was not the freedom he sought but a world of horror. Tian found himself in this dark space with billions of arms coming from below, trying to drag him. The worst part was not these creepy limbs not attached to anything, but the sweet voices that came calling him, "Xianer, why did you abandon me? Was I not enough? Couldn't you have fought for us?" Tian knew this voice, and now it no longer haunted him just in his dream but followed him into reality. "Annihilate," Tian said coldly, eradicating all signs of this dimension from the world. "Why in such a hurry?" Chengming chuckled. "We are just getting started. Why don't we take a look at your nightmare?" Tian coldly looked in the distance, his eyes penetrating whatever power confused his mind, and he looked straight at Chengming. The heavenly Dao eyes analysis is completed. Chengming felt a chill down his spine, followed by a feeling he was naked and his opponent was seeing through all his secrets. "Let's copy the opponents, Dao will mastery, and a mind protection," Tian uttered. His body instantly released an aura that broke all of Chengming's illusions/spirit techniques. But Tian was not done. He activated his awakening, condensing the supreme armor of destruction. A dark armor condenses on his body, with his hair breaking through the top of the helmet. Pure destruction energy rushed through the eye sockets and the connecting joint pieces of the armor, manifesting in a dark red shade. "It's time to end this farce," Tian said coldly. "If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know it report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1450 Tian vs Chengming, 3. I guess even being the son of Grand Dao does not mean a life of leisure and happiness, Wang Wei thought after peeping into Tian spiritual dimension. That woman in black, did Grand Dao choose her as Tian wife to counter my relationship with Wu Hong? Wu Hong is, and will always be one of Wang Wei's greatest strengths, so it made sense Grand Dao would pair Tian with someone of similar ability to prevent him from being tag-teamed by the two. If that is true, then she must be extremely talented and powerful for Grand Dao to choose her as someone that counters my Wu Hong, Wang Wei thought, remembering her name since she would be an enemy. Wang Wei muttered when he saw the horror world Chengming created. I'm envious of this guy's background. He already realized that all of Ji Chengming's techniques were the cream of the cream, and it was not entirely due to his talent. The primary source of their powers and uniqueness is that he created these techniques after studying other perfect techniques. A transcendent from the Ji clan must have perfected countless techniques before allowing their descendants or members to use them. Using that solid foundation, the Ji clan and palace members have superb techniques of their own because they can stand on the shoulders of giants. That power? Heavenly Tao? Is the tide about to change? Wang Wei thought. A sword enveloped by black flame appeared in Tian Xian's hand, and he raised it above his head. The sword suddenly grew in size, reaching a length of more than 20 meters and a girth of 5 meters. The aura of destruction released from Tian Xian's body was too intense and too abnormal, puzzling many participants. Only a few could detect this was not a regular attack using purely his Tao, but one boosted by a special destruction chi from the source chi space. As that terrifying flame sword descended, Ji Chengming's demeanor changed for the first time since the battle started. His spirit of fortitude appeared before him, releasing an intense light from his shield. Sadly, it barely worked. Ji Chengming's clothes had countless holes and tears, but he only suffered some minor scratches to his skin. However, this was not his only loss. His spirit and 3 souls were annihilated. The way his technique worked was these souls and spirits were immortals as long as he was breathing. However, Tian Xian's attack destroyed these techniques. In other words, Ji Chengming would need to relearn or recreate these techniques to use them again. That's how thorough the destruction was. You bastard, he snarled, but Tian Xian paid him no mind. A dark green silk materialized around his flaming sword as he filtered the purest form of time energy from the river of time and manipulated it to embody all destructive aspects of the concept of time. Tian Xian swung his sword again, and this time around, his attack was even faster. The time Tao he added allowed his attack to manipulate the time at which this attack would hit, arriving at a much earlier time than it would have. Virtue's spirit, charity, a beautiful woman manifested before Ji Chengming as his face contorted. The woman was dressed in all white, with her black calmly lying on her back. Her face was youthful and pure, and her body emanated a faint golden light. Anyone looking at her would instantly think she was a saint walking the mortal world. However, this woman's purpose was far from saintly. Charity means having a generous heart and giving to others, especially the less fortunate. But what this woman was giving to people was all the damage Tian Xian was taking. To cultivate this technique, Ji Chengming has already chosen countless benefactors to share the damage for him. What a bunch of waste, Ji Chengming thought with gritted teeth. All the cannon fodders he selected died with this attack, along with his charity spirit. He glanced at his missing arm, and his anger elevated to a higher level. His arm was destroyed, and it was true destruction, meaning unless he used extreme means, he'd be forever armless. Only peak paragons should be able to tap into such a pure state of destruction. How come this bastard did it after just entering the realm? He complained. Ji Chengming's complaint was warranted. Under normal circumstances, Tian Xian would not achieve such pure power. However, after copying Ji Chengming's Tao will mastery, the boost his true will can achieve has reached another level. Tian Xian attacked for the 3rd time, and Ji Chengming summoned another creature, the soul of hatred. A small face appeared above his left palm. It had no eyes and a mouth almost too big for its face, with 1,000 teeth and 100 tongues. Ji Chengming did not hesitate to swallow this ugly creature from a child's nightmare before the sword enveloped him. Ji Chengming was annihilated, with all apparent signs indicating he was defeated. However, Tian Xian did not buy it. His intuition had warned him the enemy was not vanquished, and soon enough, his eye technique detected signs of life. A black fog suddenly left Tian Xian's body as if someone had stripped something from him. Then, Ji Chengming's body slowly condensed from the cloud. You have a lot of hatred in you, Ji Chengming commented. And this hatred is odd. At first, it looks like it's geared towards someone who appeared to be in this trial, but there seems to be some underlying mystery to it. Ji Chengming looked at him coldly, not affected in the slightest. Instead, he chose to obliterate his opponent. Wait, this bastard was telling the truth when he said he copied my mental protection? Chengming did not believe him and thought he was bluffing. After all, his clan took extreme care to protect his information, so how could any lowly techniques dare claim it could analyze and copy him? Unfortunately for the young Chengming, this arrogance is why Tian successfully analyzed him, and he did it in a very short period. Before being eradicated for the fourth time, Chengming teleported the hatred soul outside of the trial before returning to the tower once the attack abated. He then gathered the hatred of the world to condense another body. A crown appeared floating above Tian's helmet like an angel's halo. He had activated his status as the Earth Emperor. Death and destruction have always gone hand in hand, so Tian used his karma position to siphon the purest of death power from samsara to combine with his destruction, adding a bit of white to the sword. I've grown to despise lowly scum like you who only play with the mind, Tian said coldly. So die. Black chains rushed from his armor to enter the void, blocking all forms of teleportation or spatial navigation. He rushed to his opponent at such immense speed it appeared he had teleported before swinging his sword down. However, a glint flashed in Chengming's eyes before the sword touched him. Soul switch, Chengming made a calculated gamble. He bet that if he swished his body with Tian, his mastery of Soul Dao would mean he would have a higher chance of controlling the latter's body before Tian could control his. Then, he can use the latter's attack and power against him. Chengming's plan worked. In a matter of milliseconds, he forcefully took control of Tian's body and forced it to continue the attack. Meanwhile, his opponent had probably barely reacted to the sudden change. The sword hit its target, releasing a massive dark energy wave that annihilated everything in its path, including this tower's reinforced spacetime barriers. For a brief moment, void tears leading outside appeared at the center of that explosion. The spirit had to work overtime to reinforce this arena since they did not expect this level of pure destructive power. Nice try, said a cold voice before Tian's perfectly intact soul appeared without Chengming's body. Unfortunately for you, I am destruction. His soul released a devouring power that attracted the armor, the sword, and all the destruction energy to condense a new body, leaving Chengming's soul alone and open. Tian raised his sword and summoned another power source that materialized as a dark purple orb that fused with his flaming sword, the power of primordial chaos. Chengming looked at the black and white flaming sword with purple and green adornment, and his face turned ugly. The power of that attack had reached the peak of the Paragon realm, meaning the chances of surviving were extremely low. None of my souls or spirits can help in this situation, he analyzed. Despite death approaching, Chengming remains calm. In his life, he has only felt fear once, and that was when he met the clan's supreme elder. This situation did not make him fear, instead, he felt frustrated. Do I have no choice but to use that method? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know it report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1451 True Purpose. A breaking sound echoed deep in Chengming's soul, activating the protective mechanism left to him by his father, an enormous face that kept morphing into countless facial expressions to express thousands of emotions. The emotions varied, but they also had one thing in common: obsession. The obsession manifested in many shapes: the intense desire to survive, the intense anger to seek revenge by all means, and the rage of killing people who have wronged you beyond words can explain. It did not matter what the intense emotions/desires or the obsessions were, it manifested in this singular face. Boom! Tian's sword finally landed, but the effect could be described as ridiculously useless. Chengming survived but did not look happy. On the contrary, he seemed furious, probably because Tian pushed him to such a level. Destroy him, Chengming ordered. As soon as these words left his mouth, the obsession creature released a terrifying tower that shook the entire trial for a few seconds. This aura, Wang Wei thought, this face reminded him when he faced supreme unity. He squinted his eyes, waiting for what was to come. Besides, Tian was the only person calm throughout the situation. "Stop," Sir Lu said, and his words contained immense power as the face suddenly became immobilized. "This is the second time you've broken the rules." Chengming was not allowed to teleport outside the tower during his fight, but he still did it. However, Sir Lu had not reprimanded him since he returned immediately. "Get the fuck out of my way," Chengming said coldly. Now that he was forced to activate his protective measures, he would annihilate his opponent for bringing him shame and humiliation. "Your actions have violated the rules, meaning you have officially lost this match," Sir Lu declared calmly. Tian deactivated his awakening, returning to his former handsome face. Interesting, Wang Wei thought. It seems the trial spirits are using this opportunity to establish their prestige. Let's see where their confidence comes from. And? Chengming sneered. "What are you going to do about it? The rules are clear. Since you lost, you must die," Sir Lu replied calmly before snapping his finger to manifest a towering clear palm that descended directly toward Chengming. The myriad face creature turned into a dark green shield to protect him, but its power was utterly useless before the palm. Then, for the second time in his life, Chengming experienced genuine fear. "You are quite bold," said a gentle voice with a hint of laziness. The clear palm disappeared, replaced by a pair of eyes accompanied by a background of a universe full of vivid and bright colors like a rainbow. "No, you're the bold one, Liu," Sir Lu said calmly. "You know the rules, but you send your people here and expect them to break them or act as if they don't apply to them. Cheng'er is young and brash, so it's normal if he makes a few mistakes," Liu replied calmly. "However, this does not mean you have the right to execute him. And what are you going to do if I insist?" The two stared at each other for a brief moment. "You know your situation, so why are you doing this?" Liu asked with a sigh. "It's not your time to judge what we do," Sir Lu countered back. "What do you want? Take your people and leave. Cheng'er is the only one who broke the rules, so why are you exiling everyone?" Sir Lu frowned. He immediately realized these people would not give up. "Fine, but you must pay to take him away." "No problem," Liu answered before a crystal descended from the sky. With a wave of his hand, the thing disappeared before anyone could see or detect what it was. "Supreme Elder, I have no problem with your decision," Chengming suddenly said before pointing at Tian. "But I must kill this bastard." The horrifying eyes did not even glance at Tian and asked, "What do you say?" "Nothing can happen to him as long as he's in the trial." "Why are you, teacher? Someone is threatening to kill me. Please help, if not for my sake, for your face." Tian suddenly bowed. A pair of golden eyes that embodied all knowledge and secrets of the world materialized above the battlefield, looking down on the rainbow starry sky. "The little brat from the Ji clan, it seems you are still acting as arrogant as ever," the Heaven Cardinal said. "It's odd, given how Ji Dingxiang was quite the humble lad." "Lord Cardinal," Liu stuttered before regaining his calmness. "My apologies, I did not know he was your apprentice. Your palace should remember that you are not the primeval body mansion. You only exist due to the kindness of Grand Tao. Understand?" "I do." "Good," the Heaven Cardinal nodded. At his peak, Ji Dingxian was more powerful than him, so he had to give his descendants some face, especially since the bastard left some protective measures for them before his passing. He looked at his disciple but did not say a single word. His eyes had communicated enough. Tian nodded before bowing, and the cardinal left. "You little bastard," Liu cursed as he looked at Chengming. He had to control himself, otherwise, he would have annihilated this bastard for forcing him to experience such humiliation. Liu controlled himself because of Chengming's importance and because he understood the latter. Chengming did not act arrogantly because of his deep background. Besides the body primeval mansion, no faction dares walk arrogantly everywhere in the chaos universe, meaning the Ji clan knows how to raise their people properly. Although they are arrogant, it's not to the point of being mindlessly prideful to the detriment of themselves or their factions. Chengming's situation is the result of a few things. Firstly, he was born with the highest concentration of their founders, Dingxiang's bloodline, meaning he had a terrifying affinity for Soul Dao. Unfortunately, their clan hasn't given birth to a transcendent in a while, and they are starting to worry. Chengming was their hope. However, the Ji clan and the palace realized the limits of their bloodline, so they chose another approach. They allowed Chengming to use their study of one of the taboos, the abomination, to add variety to his Dao and break free from the limitations of his bloodline. This approach has shown some success so far, but the backlash was that Chengming's mind had become chaotic. They successfully suppressed most of it, but his pride, arrogance, and brash nature remained and even intensified. They sent him to this trial to use foreign means to become a paragon as soon as possible. Although their clans have similar methods, albeit not as effective as this trial, their methods also involved Soul Dao, meaning it could aggravate Chengming's situation instead of improving it. "Come with me," Liuyu said before disappearing with Chengming. However, as soon as he left, everyone, except Sir Lu, Tian, the palace people, and the primeval body mansion people, immediately forgot the conversation they had heard or the fact that Liuyu had appeared in the first place. Some paragons, like Emperor Kong, felt something extra had occurred but did not notice anything else. Only Wang Wei knew his memories were erased. "What a pain," Wang Wei complained before teleporting to the first room in the Dao Tower. He borrowed the trial energy to condense a few needles he embedded into his acupoints and soul. Memories were part of his existence. It's the reason eternal emperors and above can revive themselves as long as someone remembers them. Wang Wei activated the part of his existence, involved memories, and he remembered most of the conversation, with a few blurry parts that he had to fill in the blank. "This is valuable information," he muttered, taking the time to analyze everything. "Something fishy is going on with Tian, he muttered. Before he could even proceed further with his analysis, he detected something. Someone was using the trial's power to hide something in this room. The odd thing is that the object would reveal itself only if another Dao overlord walked into this room. Wang Wei waved his hand, and a piece of paper appeared before him. He carefully opened it to see the content. "I need to see you in secret. Use your heaven deception array and this trial's power to create a secure location, Tian." He, Wang Wei chuckled. Things are getting interesting. Curiosity immediately got the best of him, and he did as the note said. After being powered/blessed by the power of this trial, this array could probably be hidden from anyone or anything, including Grand Dao. Once everything is set up, Wang Wei steals Hong was method by resonating his 3 emperor position with Tian Xian's to summon his projection. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1452 Alike, Author's Note. Today is my birthday, meaning I'm 1 year closer to death. Sorry about the bad joke. Someone close to me used to make this joke, and I thought I would try it once. Anyway, please shower me with birthday wishes and words of prosperity. I live in the US, and am a person of color, so the past 3 months have been a nightmare. I've been trying to keep a positive mindset, but it's hard to do so when your country is descending into fascism, and you're a part of the group that will suffer the most. I'm trying to remain positive, and having a great birthday today is the first step. I consider you guys part of my community, so I will include you in the celebration. That was quick, Tian Xian said. Before we get started, sign this karma-binding promissory note that you'll repay all the points I used for this meeting, Wang Wei said as he sent a red note to him. The information said you were cheap and refused to take a loss. I didn't expect it to be this extreme, Tian Xian mocked. Regardless of his words, he reviewed the note before signing it without any bargaining. You must be desperate that you didn't even bargain, Wang Wei said. I'm just showing you my sincerity. Wang Wei put the contract away and summoned a scholarly fan to fan himself, acting all pretentious. So, what do you want to talk about? Tian Xian looked at him and shook his head. The information he knew said this man's personality was as weird, pretentious, and ever-changing as a woman's mood or a man's volatile anger. You didn't you? You removed the shackles on you, Tian asked. What are you talking about? Wang Wei asked in confusion, his facial expression displaying genuine puzzlement and unawareness. No need to act, Tian continued. The aura during your immeasurable tribulation was more than enough proof. Unlike the lower cultivation realm, there is no benefit to antagonizing Grand Tao during tribulation, unless you want to borrow its power. But what would you want to borrow its power for? Only one thing would make you risk your life to such an extent, your pursuit of freedom. Once I analyzed things from this perspective, many things started to connect. For example, what would you use your immeasurable emperor achievement for? You don't trust Grand Tao, so you wouldn't ask it to directly remove your shackle or trust any methods that he offered. So, the next best thing is to ask for a safe way to detect the shackles, then use the tribulation to eliminate it yourself. Am I wrong? The two stared at each other for a while before Wang Wei broke the silence by smiling. Interesting. Now, everything makes sense. Tian frowned. I was wondering why your hostility toward me suddenly diminished after my tribulation, he continued. Chengming wasn't an accident, was it? Even if he didn't challenge you, you would have antagonized and fought him. You planned to put him in enough danger to lure the transcendent behind him so you can contact your teacher. No, he's not just your teacher, he is your watcher. You wanted to distract him long enough to leave the contact note. The great part about your plan is that if you're caught, you could use the excuse that the note was an attempt at secretly spying on my secrets since you knew I would use the first room. Wang Wei smirked. You want your freedom, don't you? It makes sense, after all. How can someone as intelligent as you accept being someone else's puppet? Wang Wei chuckled. I didn't expect you and I were alike in our pursuit of freedom. I never expected to hide the truth from you, Tian admitted. He knew what to expect when communicating and planning against his kind, so this little demonstration meant nothing to either of them. I'm intrigued, Wang Wei smiled as he fanned himself. Your goal should be my observation method, but what do you plan on exchanging with it? How about your life and safety? This should be interesting to hear. You give me what I want, and I won't reveal you are the mad fate emperor from the all-seeing temple's prophecy, Tian said calmly. Stop playing these useless games, Wang Wei countered. You uttered a word about me, and I will immediately contact Grand Tao and tell it what you're doing. He looked directly into his gaze. I reckon Grand Tao won't kill you after so many investments, but it shouldn't be an issue to change your personality by giving you a new set of memories and experiences. A glint flashed deep in Tian eyes. No one would want their personality to be twisted into someone else, not to mention the person deep in his mind he refused to forget. All right, but you should understand that I had to try, he said, shrugging. My offer is an alliance between us. That's it? I know many secrets that may be helpful to you. Like? Wang Wei asked, and Tian stared at him. He knew this bastard was using this situation to get one free, valuable piece of information from him. He mulled it over briefly. How about something related to Zheng? If you're going to mention how he's trying to revive himself, don't bother. You know? Is it hard to deduce? Wang Wei sneered. He probably knew he might not survive and Grand Tao would completely erase him, so he tried the only way that could give him a way of surviving, the power of obsession. The Heart Desire Palace has spent so long studying obsession and desires in the hopes of reviving their ancestors. Tian sighed deeply, not hiding his frustration. Is this the first time you've confronted someone of equal intelligence? No wonder you're inferior to me, your cultivation experience is too curated, Wang Wei said. A wave of profound anger and hatred flashed deep in Tian eyes, but his facial expression and aura remained unchanged. Regardless, Wang Wei still detected it. He has great control over his emotions, Wang Wei thought. How about I tell you a secret about this trial? Tian asked calmly. I'm listening, Wang Wei replied. do you know what this place is? Probably a heaven and earth wonder. Exactly, Tian nodded, already expecting he would have figured this much out. Do you know how heaven and earth wonders are created? I only know they were created by either heavenly or grand Tao, Wang Wei admitted. True, but the crux of the matter is how they are created, Tian added, and after seeing his expression of ignorance, he continued. They are created from the dead bodies of Genesis creatures. Genesis creatures? As in creatures from the Genesis age? Wang Wei asked for clarification. That's right. That would explain why they have abilities that break the rules and limitations, Wang Wei suddenly realized. Grand Tao was all about waste utilization and not being wasteful, so it made sense to recycle the carcasses of these ancient and powerful creatures to create something that would benefit the chaos universe. But is that it? That's the information you want to exchange? Tian stared at him. Your blood-sucking nature is quite unpleasant. My wife likes it very much, Wang Wei rebutted as he fanned himself even more, thus turning the pretentious level to a higher level. An anomaly has occurred, Tian added. The dead creatures made from this trial have regained consciousness. To be precise, a new consciousness has been reborn from the remains and memories of the previous one. I'm sure you've noticed the other transcendent factions. Their objective is to control or swallow that new creature/consciousness. Is that why these trial spirits have encouraged people to use their points? Wang Wei asked. That's right, Tian nodded. The consciousness is still under Grand Taoist restrictions, so it cannot harm the participants. However, the more people that participate in this trial, the more of this trial's unique power can be condensed and utilized, thus accelerating his revival. Interesting, Wang Wei uttered as he caressed his beardless chin. What about Grand Tao's role in this? It should know, so why hasn't it done anything? What do you think? It's probably responsible for the birth of this consciousness, Wang Wei analyzed. And even if it's not, it won't care. The age of transcendence is coming, so it's about time to start manufacturing transcendent-level resources. This creature might be the beginning. Exactly, Tian nodded. Grand Tao has grown immensely since the Genesis age and is well prepared for the upcoming transcendent age. This is terrible news for the cultivators since that means more rules and less opportunity to exploit the established system. So, what do you think? Tian asked. This information is only the tip of what I know. An alliance with me will benefit both of us. Wang Wei muttered, thinking deeply about it. I still expect my birthday wishes. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1453 Land of Exile. I'm afraid I have to refuse, Wang Wei said. Why? Tian asked while frowning. Is it because of the value of your technique? Who said it was a technique? Or come on. You wouldn't ask for an item since it's a foreign object and can be taken away. You wouldn't accept Grand Tao modifying your eyes so that only leaves a technique you can use to study or discover any possible problem, Tian said, almost rolling his eyes. He, Wang Wei chuckled. The point is I understand the thing is valuable, and I don't have anything of similar value to exchange now, unless you dare cultivate my heavenly Tao eyes, Tian said, staring at him. After seeing his calm demeanor, he continued, my point is the information I know is truly the most valuable and unproblematic thing I can exchange. The problem is not the value of the technique. Well, to be specific, it's not the primary issue, Wang Wei stated. Then, what is the issue? Well, first, there is the problem of trust, Wang Wei uttered directly. How do I trust you? You were raised, spending all your life being compared to me. Although you have great control over your emotions, you obviously hold a grudge against me for what happened to you. Do you expect me to ally with someone as untrustworthy as you? That's fair, Tian nodded, which is why I'm willing to sign an existence-binding contract. A what? Wang Wei asked despite the name being self-explanatory. People above the Paragon realm do not trust heavenly or grand Dao contracts, and regular soul contracts or Dao oaths have little use on them. So, they created existence-binding contracts. The thing is hard to break, and even if someone tries, the other signer will know and can generate a backlash with terrifying repercussions. How do you have such a thing? Wang Wei asked, slightly curious. Tian Xian pondered briefly. I guess there is no point in hiding it now. The teacher, enunciating intensely, sent me to a fortunate encounter to get the book of contract left from an ancient age. This thing is a pseudo-transcendent item with this ability. So, he randomly just gave you such a huge opportunity. I must admit, I'm jealous of you sometimes, Wang Wei sighed as he fanned himself. He didn't do it out of the kindness of his heart, Tian Xian sneered. The book was so I could enslave a sect on par with the Dao opening sect so they would not intervene when I try to kill you. Your life truly evolved around me in all aspects. How sad, Wang Wei sighed. You said the trust issue was your first concern, Tian Xian asked, ignoring that comment. What are the others? Your plan is a little too flimsy for my taste, Wang Wei said calmly. From my perspective, you planned to fulfill your duty until after my tribulation. Then, you saw hope and concocted this plan, but everything seemed to be hasty. I will not be surprised if Grand Dao immediately detects your betrayal after leaving this room and sends divine punishment on you, or your teachers come to fetch you for a new personality tuning. Wang Wei shook his head. Scheming against a higher entity is a complex issue that requires patience and carefulness. However, while brilliant, Tian Xian's plan came into existence and was executed in less than 500 years, leaving too many flaws or possibilities for failure. I've thought of this. Oh. As long as I can come to an agreement with you, I know your future self can hide my betrayal, buying me a few moments of respite. Wang Wei's lips twitched. This bastard was scheming against his future self. However, that one statement revealed how much this bastard knew about him. Aren't you putting your hope in something illusory? I'm fighting against probably the most powerful entity in the Chaos universe, and I have so little time to plan my escape, Tian Xian said calmly. I had no choice but to include luck and faith in my plan. Wang Wei sighed. Their kind is meticulous and usually follows logic, fact, knowledge, data, and deduction of all possibilities when scheming. However, on a few rare occasions, they have no choice but to rely on luck, faith, or belief. They usually refer to these moments as calculated risks. Let's say you are right, and my future self does buy you some time. What are you going to do with it? If Tian Xian is as important to Grand Dao as he appeared, there is no way to hide this betrayal for too long. It'll escape to the land of exile. And that is? It's a timeline or a group of them, I'm not really sure, that Grand Dao abandoned for some reason. Abandon? Wang Wei asked. He knew one of the 13 taboos was the lost timeline, a timeline that Grand Dao had to wipe out from existence for some reason, but he had never heard of a group of abandoned timelines. If something went wrong with these timelines, wouldn't it make better sense to erase them than to abandon them, since that could lead to instability? Wang Wei analyzed. Unless it cannot erase them, Tian Xian finished. Things are getting more interesting, Wang Wei smiled as he fanned himself. What power or horror lay in these timelines for Grand Dao to have no choice but to separate them from the infinite trichiliocosm and grant them their independence? If I agree to this proposition, how will we exchange information? And please don't say nonsense like wait until you've already taken a step into the transcendent path to start our exchange. Tian Xian's lips twitched. We will choose a designated timeline to communicate. However, you must wait until I remove some of the shackles on myself first. That's fair. So, you agree? Yes, but I have a condition. By all means. I won't directly give you the technique, Wang Wei uttered before raising his hand to stop Tian Xian from getting excited. I'll refine an artifact with the same effect, and you can have the technique after you've exchanged enough information that equals its overall value. Tian Xian groaned as he remembered this vampire would not suffer a loss under any circumstances. That's fine by me, but we must design a system to determine the technique's value. Of course. Is that it? Tian asked. One more thing, but it's not a condition, but more of a question. Tian motioned for him to continue. Why do I smell desperation in your actions? The way you move is not like I, who truly wants freedom because that is my obsession. No, it's more like you're running from something, no, trying to prevent something. Tian remained quiet for a solid 30 seconds before replying. I'm trying to save her. What do you mean? My teacher, and maybe even Grand Dao, has already noticed my hesitation. Tian sighed deeply. According to calculations, their next training plan is to manipulate you into killing her. Once that is done, my hatred will be cemented, and I will accept my fate no matter what, just for the chance to avenge her. Aren't you? Please don't say some stupid and arrogant thing about not being manipulated. Tian cut him off. Grand Dao's intelligence is above you, it has more information and knowledge than you, and you're an ant compared to it regarding power. You can't stop it if it genuinely wants to manipulate you into something. Don't forget you still have 2 fate nexus attached to you, and those are the detectable ones. Fair point, Wang Wei nodded. He might be on par with Grand Dao in the future, but his current self was as insignificant as a bug on the street. His victories over Grand Dao so far have only been because it's a program that primarily acts within the confound of specific rules and limitations. Even his future self playing chess with Grand Dao using the Chaos Universe as a board may not be helpful. After all, chess is a 2-player game, meaning each person will take turns making a move. If Grand Dao is determined to make such a move, future Wang Wei may not be able to stop it. In fact, the latter might not even try since it appeared he wanted to accelerate his past self's growth through adversity. I can sympathize with doing everything for the love of your life, Wang Wei sighed. Do we have a deal? Yes, but let me see the contract first to check if nothing is wrong. No problem. The two then started their work, beginning with checking and signing the contract, organizing a system for the value of information, and a system for exchanging said information through timeline traveling. Tian had a gentle smile hidden on the corner of his mouth after everything was done. I'll give you 2 pieces of information at no cost, Tian said. You probably know this already, but be careful of the heavenly book Paragon. If I guess correctly, he is the true enemy Grand Dao has prepared to eliminate you. Do you have information about him? Tian shook his head. I felt danger whenever I asked the teacher too many questions about him. I see. The second information is that there is a recruiting token for the Impermanent Society in the pure Inferno Chaos world. You might want to take it. Impermanent Society? A group of crazy scholars dedicated to studying and uncovering all kinds of secrets and mysteries of the Chaos Universe, Tian explained. You've met Madman Chu, right? Yeah. He's one of their members. I see. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1454 Newly Acquired Ambitions. Dear, what's wrong with you? Sun Junyao asked. Ever since they watched that fight, he's been distracted, drastically reducing the efficiency of their hunt. That man called Tian, something about him is odd. Well, that's obvious. No, I mean something about him has attracted me, Xiaotiandi explained. What do you mean? Sun Junyao still did not understand what he was getting at. His physique, Xiaotiandi explained. Every time he used any daos besides destruction, I sensed a familiar aura. Are you saying he also has the innate Grand Dao source physique? No, that's the issue. His aura was purer. Are you sure? All I sensed was the overwhelming power of destruction. That's also why I'm questioning my senses, Xiaotiandi admitted, making his master frown. So, why did you bring this up? Do you have something planned? I was thinking if I could get my hands on his blood and strip the other powers, maybe I can push my physique to a higher level. I sensed an urgency in your voice, she stated, and Xiao Tiandi sighed. After watching this battle, I realized it may not be a good thing to rush into the Paragon realm, he commented. His cultivation was already 79% in such a short period, meaning it wouldn't take long for him to become a peak Empyrean. However, after seeing how powerful Tian Xian and Ji Chengming were, Xiao Tiandi realized that rushing might not be the best choice. Sun Junyao uttered. Do you want me to fight him? Honestly, I doubt I would be his match even after becoming a Paragon. Not to mention he's probably related to a transcendent faction, Xiao Tiandi added. Although he did not instantly realize his memories were missing, he could deduce part of the truth. Maybe we could team up against him. After all, our objective is to get his blood, not kill him, Sun Junyao suggested. However, by the time we both reach his realm, who knows how powerful he'll be by then. In that case, we need to use our head instead of our might. You want to ask Wang Wei, Sun Junyao realized, not hiding the dissatisfaction in her tone. I thought you were a staunch opposer to our constant reliance on him. It's obvious he's trying to break your love-fate line by constantly increasing his karma and karmic debt between you two. We might as well take this opportunity since it probably won't last long, Xiao Tiandi shrugged. You have a point, she nodded. If Wang Wei did not crack the fate line, their relationship would have become much more awkward. Fate would make it so that they constantly met by accident, even locking them up in unique dimensions/fortunate encounters so they could get to know each other. Alright, you contact him yourself. Let's hope he's available, Xiao Tiandi uttered as he used his communication talisman. Did something happen? Wang Wei's projection asked. He had just finished analyzing everything that had happened with Tian Xian and was about to cultivate. I wanted to ask you something, Xiao Tiandi started the conversation before explaining observation and objective. Oh, you're talking about his myriad Dao physique. That's what it's called? I don't know, but that's what I call it, Wang Wei admitted. His senses were much higher than those two, so he detected even more information and deduced the rest. According to his analysis, the best Dao for Tian Xian was chaos since it would allow him to use all Daos and make him a better vessel for Grand Dao. That's probably why he has the same physique as Xiao Tiandi and why he elevated it to a higher level. Tian Xian's first act of rebellion was choosing Destruction Dao and even morphing his Myriad Dao physique into something that could be called Absolute Destruction physique. He probably used some excuse that this Dao had the highest attack potency and was somewhat the antithesis of fate, which is all about control and versatility. So, can you help us? If you want his blood, just ask him and exchange something of equal value, Wang Wei suggested. Something of equal value? You mean my master's perfection? This? Xiao Tiandi uttered before looking at her. Aren't you putting me in danger? Sun Junyao showed her head and asked. Before coming to this place, she made a great effort to hide her perfection. It also helped that Wang Wei's history lock considered her existence one of the world's great secrets and further aided in the hiding process. Now, he was suggested to reveal such information. He already knows about you, Wang Wei revealed. How? Did you say something? And why would I do such a thing? But how did some foreign cultivator know such a secret? Sun Junyao asked. His situation is special, so he knows much about our world and its current state. Wait, does that mean he could reveal it to other chaos worlds? Xiao Tiandi butted in. It's possible, but don't worry about it. What do you mean don't worry? He asked before understanding flashed in his eyes. You've already dealt with it? When would I have the time to do that? Then you have a plan then? Xiao Tiandi asked. Yes. Is this plan reliable? Wang Wei stared at him. Alright, I've spoken too much, Xiao Tiandi backed down. Someone else is contacting me, Wang Wei stated. Anyway, I've already given you a suggestion. It's up to you whether you follow it or not. The chances of this trade proceeding were exceedingly high. Perfection contains some of the secrets or essence of Grand Dao, which is immensely valuable for Tian Xian in escaping his shackles. One more thing, Wang Wei added. No matter what, do not directly absorb his blood to improve your physique, even if you purified it 1,000,000,000 times. And no, I'm not exaggerating here. You can study and recreate his blood conditions to improve yourself, but under no circumstances should you directly absorb it. Is it that serious? Xiao Tiandi frowned. Let's say it in another way. If you absorb it, you will instantly become my enemy, and I hunt you down at any cost. I won't care about our previous friendship, nor will I give you time to grow. Xiao Tiandi felt a chill down his spine. Alright, I get it. Good. The communication ended, and he looked at his master. Isn't it being too much? The good news is we can now deduce what kind of relationship these two have, Sun Junyao added. True. I'm telling you, our priority is to become a paragon, Lin Fan stated. You saw what happened in that fight. Wang Wei was right, shenanigans have started to appear, so who knows how much time we have. I understand where you are coming from, but what is the point of becoming a paragon if we are the weakest group, Su Shi argued. Under normal circumstances, you would be right, but this trial is a heaven-sent opportunity. As long as we take the 4th or 3rd heaven spots, our high cultivation will compensate for the lack of high battle capabilities. I don't understand why you're so focused on reaching a higher realm when you know the significance of a deep foundation. Lin Fan sighed. Foundation can be made up, but this is a once-in-lifetime opportunity. You don't know if we can make it up or the price to pay to do so. And you don't even know how to enter the taboo battle realm, Lin Fan countered. Speaking of, didn't you see how the teacher did not wait? That's because he's under pressure and probably planning something, Su Shi countered. But with his protection, we can take things slow and prepare for a better future. Lin Fan opened his mouth before closing them. He exhaled to calm down. How about we talk to him and get his opinion? All right. Soon, they immediately contacted Emperor Kong and explained the situation. I understand where both of you are coming from, Kong nodded. So, who do you think is right? You're both right. Do you know why the taboo realm is not common knowledge? Is it because the top lineages hide all information about it? Lin Fan replied. No, that's only a small part, Kong explained. It's because many people feel it's useless. How does that make sense? Su Shi asked. It does, Lin Fan added. The time it takes to research and create a method to enter that stage might be longer than the time needed to reach the next realm. Exactly, Kong agreed. And there are no tangible benefits. The ability to fight above your realm is not as valuable as reaching that realm and acquiring that level of strength. But Wang Wei has insinuated many times to me that the taboo battle realm will have great benefit in the realm of the two suns, Su Shi added. That may be true, but you have to remember that before they appeared, 99% of cultivators believed the Paragon realm was the peak of cultivation. And from what I gathered, even during the Second Origin War, many people did not participate or take the opposing side because they believed Xuan was messing around and his plan was nothing but nonsense. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1455 Invitation. So, it's meaningless? Su Shi asked. Not necessarily, Kong answered. My view is we should at least enter the taboo realm at least once, and after reaching that level, there may be a way to make up for it. I see. So, what do you think we should do? Lin Fan asked. You can follow your own path, Kong said. Lin Fan can continue his spring to the Paragon realm, and Su Shi can start planning for her battle taboo. But Master, we don't have the information on how to do it. Kong was momentarily quiet. With my current realm, I can probably deduce the truth, but it would take a while, so it would be best to ask someone else. They both sighed before Su Shi uttered, I'll contact Wang Wei. Master, what exactly is your plan? Lin Fan asked. He knew of his master's temperament, so it was odd for him to rush to the Paragon realm at all costs. You will know in due time, Kong replied. By the way, where is my son? Brother Bai is still hunting. Keep an eye on him, and don't let him do anything stupid, Kong warned. He forbade his son from experiencing the immeasurable tribulation. Bai Han is not like his two disciples, who are blessed with immense, unique destinies and talents, meaning his chances of passing the tribulation after such a short period in the Empyrean realm were slim. So, he planned to train him to the peak of the Empyrean realm and get an entrance token to return to the trial once he was truly ready. Is there anything else? No. Be careful, Emperor Kong warned them before ending the conversation, leaving the couple alone. Are you sure you're not going to regret your decision? Su Shi asked. Maybe I will in the future, but for now, I'm willing to accept whatever consequences await. Very well, Su Shi said before kissing him on the cheek. She walked to the room next door to contact Wang Wei. She had noticed his decision was not simply due to a desire for power, there was obviously something more at play, but since he hasn't brought it up, shall wait until he's ready to talk about it. Wang Wei ended his conversation with Su Shi. Another one has awakened, he muttered. First was Xiao Tiandi and Sun Junyao, and now Su Shi came along. He hoped more of his peers would realize the same, but he would not remind them himself. All right, time for a short retreat, Wang Wei thought. He closed his eyes, and 500 years passed. His cultivation reached the fourth heaven or 94%. This trial's spirits are greater vampires than I could ever dream of, he complained. He acquired many points, but they only allowed him to increase his cultivation by 1%. Tower spirit, are you there? Are you calling me? A small humanoid spirit in scholarly clothes, sitting on a large, opened book twice his size, appeared before him. Yes. Normally, we don't respond to participants unless it's really urgent or something special has occurred, but it seems you're one of our high-value targets. So, what can I do for you? Wang Wei's lips twitched. He exhaled to control himself. Is there any way you could make a refining tower? I would like to refine an artifact at the fastest speed possible. A tower to refine weapons and other stuff? A glint flashed in the spirit's eyes. What a great idea. Now that many paragons will be competing in the trial, a refining tower is an excellent idea. The Tao spirit immediately started to dissipate. Wait. Is there any else? He asked in annoyance. Since it's my idea, can't you give me some credit? Give me a reward or a discount, give me something. You have a point, the Tao spirit uttered as he rested his head on his palm. How about a 5% discount on your next tower? No, 5% is too much. 1%? That's too little. I know, a 2% discount. How about it? 2% is too little. Give me at least 20%. 2%, take it or leave it, the Tao spirit said lazily, making Wang Wei's twitch even more. How cheap are these guys? He complained internally. Fine. Excellent. The spirit released a light that entered his token before disappearing. Wang Wei shook his head before teleporting home. He immediately sensed a profound connection with someone and activated it. A shadowy figure soon grew out of his own shadow. You're healed. Yes, my lord, Red Mask replied while kneeling on one knee. And your strength? I'm officially a paragon and can borrow your strength for a short period. So, same as usual, Wang Wei nodded. Let's get to work. He sat on his futon while Red Mask handed him a talisman with detailed information about what occurred in the last 500 years. A few things caught Wang Wei's attention, including Tian Xian and Emperor Kong becoming inextinguishable paragons. Yan Jia was hurt? Yes, he was attacked by a chaos world called the Metal Supremacy World. Is Metal Dao the primary Dao of that world? Wang Wei asked. No, it's the second most cultivated Dao, the first is Weapon Dao. Oh. More importantly, they despised sword and saber cultivators, Red Mask continued. Yan Jia was not the only one attacked. Jian Wushuang, Ji Lanfang, the Golden Sword Emperor, and everyone from the Sword Path League. A battle of destiny between Weapon Dao? How interesting. Wang Wei commented. He continued reading the information and soon finished everything. Your next task is to prepare for the spread of the Fate Shadow Guards to these participants' world. Here is what you need to do. He handed her a set of instructions before dismissing her. His next goal was straightforward: hunt enough points to reach the fifth heaven and refine the artifact for Tian Xian. As for his Proving Dao artifact, Wang Wei had to admit he did not care that much. His mindset is similar to that of many cultivators in the Eternal Ascension world who don't like relying on external objects. That's why he rarely, if ever, used his Proving Dao artifact, unless for a Grand Dao boost. Of course, he won't abandon the thing. If used correctly, it can be a trump card to reverse a dangerous situation, so Wang Wei will wait until he's back home to add the finishing touch. The artifact had already been tempered and nourished during his ascension, so he only needed to fuse some rare materials to raise it to a higher level. Wang Wei left his mountain to hunt. However, less than 5 years into the process, he received an invitation from Mong Qi for a meeting, and the latter heavily implied an important guest wanted to see him. Although slightly confused, Wang Wei headed to Monk's Temple in the Safet Zone. As Wang Wei walked to the room with numerous signs of life, he heard a booming and confident voice. Mulei, right? It appeared you started with the giantification path, and changed into the world body path. Your body has been well tempered, your foundation is solid, and your spirit and willpower meet the requirements. However, there is nothing unique about you. You can be an ordinary member if you accept my invitation. If I remember correctly, Monk introduced you as Yin Gu, right? Let's see, the Yin Qi path. Better yet, an extreme Yin Qi path that reverted to the extreme Yang path. Your body is tempered to the extreme, and your spirit and willpower are amongst the best I've seen. The most crucial part is you're an extremely pure body refiner. Not bad. Your only flaw is that there are too many hidden dangers in your body because of the extreme methods you use to temper it, but that's nothing the right resources cannot fix. Talents like you are what the mansion looks forward to, so you can start as an inner disciple. No, I like you, so let's give you some better treatment and start as an elite disciple. I'll think about it, Yin Zhen said calmly. It's up to you, the voice said. And you are Su Dandan? What a beautiful lady. Wow, not a single reaction. Alright, let's take a look. Blood Qi path? I can't believe some people still have the patience to take that ancient path. How intriguing. Your foundation is solid, and the same can be said about your spirit and willpower. Although nothing extraordinary, your patience and meticulous nature of walking the Blood Qi path are valued by our mansion. I think Uncle Yang Heart will like you. Your life will be set if you can get his appreciation and become his disciple. If not, you can start as an inner disciple. I understand, Su Dandan responded calmly. By the way, do you want to be my 1,234,876th concubine? No. How about my 12,574th noble concubine? Is that too low? You barely meet the requirement to be my 246th imperial concubine. That doesn't even satisfy you? Unfortunately, I'm only allowed 13 wives, and I've already got 9 of them, and you don't meet the requirements to be my wife. Su Dandan just stared at him. Unfortunately. It seems we are not fated for each other. What a shame, the voice continued. Well, this should be everyone except the peeper. Why don't you show up? Wang Wei walked into the room, looking at this nearly 3 meters man with tight martial clothes with short sleeves that displayed his bulging muscles, short hair, a handsome face with a scar over his left eye, blue hair, a gentle but confident smile, and golden earrings. You are? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1456 First meeting. I don't sense any direct threat from him, meaning his cultivation or strength is on par or weaker than mine. However, there is still a dreadful feeling when I think about killing him, so he should have a similar level of protection as Chengming, Wang Wei swiftly analyzed. You are? He asked. The name is Bai Longsheng, the muscular man introduced himself. You must be Wang Wei, right? Monk said great things about you, so let's take a look. A golden hue flashed deep in his bright pupils. What a strange technique. You started with an artifact body fusion path, but updated your technique to switch to the star body path, using your acupoints. Finally, you changed into the bloodline path. Breaking the shackles of your human bloodline? So, you followed the same path as Uncle Bai Xing. But why would you use fiend gods as your target when chaos demon gods exist? Bai Longsheng shook his head. Such a pure and flawless body. How is that possible? Did you get your hands on primal heart water? That doesn't make sense since only our mansion can make it. Wait, there is more. A spirit and willpower tempered to the highest level when you were just a mortal. Are you a freak? How can someone cultivate their willpower to such a level without sufficient cultivation, body or soul? Madness, you dare use the power of nothingness, and survive? Hee, Uncle Void Origin would sell his manhood to take you as a disciple and inherit his legacy. Is that a gate of ascension? Have you already recondensed yours? That's something I haven't done. Bai Longsheng's eyes shone brightly. He had found a supreme talent, so he must bring him back to the mansion at all costs. You are the perfect candidate to cultivate the primeval body art. You must definitely join our mansion. Wang Wei looked at him with a slight frown, thinking to himself, despite his joyful and charming appearance, this man is quite arrogant, but it's not the outward arrogance displayed by someone like Chengming. No, it's the kind of pride and arrogance that is deeply rooted in his bones and soul. That's why he can invade people's bodily authority without asking or caring about the consequences. To him, that's just normal or something he has the right to do because of who he is. What's the primeval body art? Wang Wei asked calmly. The best body refining cultivation in the entire chaos universe, Bai Longsheng answered directly, not hiding his confidence behind this statement. Can I assume this was the technique your founder cultivated? You can say that. I see, Wang Wei nodded. Well, thanks for the offer, but I have no plans to join your mansion. Are you sure? With your talent, you'll receive the position of true disciples, meaning you'll be treated the same as direct descendants like myself. I'm sure, Wang Wei nodded without hesitation. Can I ask why? I have my own path to follow. Bai Longsheng looked him up and down. You're quite the arrogant fellow at heart, aren't you? Do you know what kind of opportunity you're giving up? Do you know how many people would die just to glance at this technique, let alone cultivate it? Anyone with the mindset that someone else's technique is the fundamental answer to their transcendent path has no future in the first place. You're an interesting guy, Bai Longsheng chuckled, but his facial expression displayed no humor. On the contrary, the tension in the room drastically intensified. Are you looking down on my mansion's most precious technique? I never said that. But your tone indicates you view our most precious technique as something not worth your consideration. Well, it's really not, Wang Wei replied truthfully. Even if the primeval body mansion handed him the technique, he would not even look at it, at least not in his current weak self. You better watch your next words carefully, Bai Longsheng warned with squinted eyes. Let me ask you something, Wang Wei said, also locking eyes at him head-on. How many true transcendents have your mansion cultivated again? Excuse you? Since you seem to think that technique is the greatest thing this universe has ever seen since the birth of Grand Tao, it must have given birth to countless true transcendents for your mansion, am I right? Bai Longsheng stared at him. Am I wrong? Wang Wei smiled. Or, maybe it's common sense with anyone with decent intelligence that the path of transcendence is a personal thing, and walking in other people's shoes makes it a million times harder for success. And even if you succeed, there is a high chance you will become the puppet of the Forerunners. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What is your mansion's true purpose in finding talents capable of cultivating this primeval body art? You have quite the imagination, Bai Longxing said calmly. And you also have quite the balls to dare slander our mansion like this. Oh, don't mind me. I'm just a lowly cultivator with a chaotic mind and big tongue, Wang Wei shrugged. Bai Longxing chuckled at his words before laughing out loud, his booming voice echoing throughout the temple. Wang Wei seamlessly started laughing with him. Their voices entangled as if they were former friends who had been through numerous trials and tribulations together. I like people like you, Bai Longxing said as he summoned a token. My offer still stands. And am open to considering it, Wang Wei smiled as he put it away. Monk, don't forget you promised me your clan's best wine. Of course, Monk nodded. Bai Longxing waved to the others before steadily walking out of the temple. Let's talk privately. Wang Wei nodded before saluting the others and stating to Su Dandan, wait for me at my mountain. She nodded and he followed Monk to a private room where the latter handed him a wine gourd after they sat down. I'm sorry about him. He seemed like a chill guy when I met him. It's fine, Wang Wei calmly said as he swallowed a mouthful of this fiery wine. The entire situation was under his control. As soon as Bai Longxing started scanning his body, he could have stopped him by slightly modifying the armor around his existence to hide his information instead of protecting him. The subsequent conversation also proceeded as such on purpose to see what kind of person he was and to see if he could bypass the latter's information protection by riling up his emotions. And Wang Wei's approach was successful. He discovered Bai Longxing's cultivation was weaker than his, but strength was probably only slightly weaker than his, at least based on aura alone. How did you meet him? I was hunting, and he approached me, Monk explained. We fought, and he read my talent like he did you and the others before introducing himself and inviting me to his palace. Then, we talked about the best body refiners we've ever fought, and I mentioned you and the others from our world, and he asked me to invite them for a meeting. I figured this might be an opportunity for our world, but I didn't expect he would react this way when he met you. 706, people like us have massive egos, so it's impossible to truly get along unless someone is willing to bow down or control themselves, Wang Wei stated calmly. You've been low-key in the trial, so I thought you would control yourself. The trial is about to descend into chaos, and I plan to take part in the action. Bai Longxing is one of the greatest variables, so I needed to know what kind of person he is to anticipate how he will act. I don't want any part of the chaos, Monk shook his head. The trial allowed him to continue tempering his body to the fifth heaven of the Elder Fiend God realm, and the Tao Tower is an excellent place to finish his Great Wisdom Sutra. So, he is not prepared to risk himself, his wife, or possibly the future of the barbarian clan in this upcoming chaos. That's not a bad approach, Wang Wei nodded. So, what are you going to do with his invitation? Monk asked. I think you know it's unwise to antagonize the primeval body mansion, but you also make a great argument. I'm greatly interested in their library, Wang Wei admitted. He had a concrete plan to open the fourth gate but still lacked the necessary knowledge to create a feasible transcendent technique. The mansion should have the most extensive body refining technique library in the Chaos universe. However, I have no desire to join them, at least, not until I've already walked my own fleshly body transcendence path. That makes sense, Monk nodded. What about you? What are you going to do? I must admit that I'm tempted, Monk said. A catastrophe is coming in our world, and having the mansion as a protective background might not be the worst thing. However, I'm also worried that their internal political systems will swallow us. That is a major decision, Wang Wei stated. Unfortunately, there is nothing much I can say or do to help you decide. I know. But if you choose to join, don't touch that primeval body art. You don't really think. The creator may not be malicious, but at his level, any connection to him might influence lower cultivators without him even noticing. So, for your safety, you better not even read that technique until you've walked your path and are confident you won't stray. I understand, Monk nodded. Regardless of his decision, he'll keep these words in mind. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1457 Warning Mark and the couple's new path. By Longxing teleported to his residence, which was odd by all standards for a man of his status. He did not live in some lavish palace composed of the best and rarest material of the chaos universe. No, Bai Longsheng's residence was a small forest full of ferocious beasts and a mountain with a cave he dug with his hands. The cave was simple, with a small pond, a cultivation room, and a storage room. Bai Longxing built this place because of its meaning. When he was 5, the mansion coldly sent him into this cruel world to fend for himself. For many years, he had to kill and eat these powerful and cruel blood beasts. The flesh and blood of these creatures were the best nutrients to nourish his body, polish his foundation, and awaken his bloodline/physique, but it did not change the fact he almost died from a bear when he was only 5 years old. That experience affected Bai Longxing in many ways. By the age of 15, without starting his cultivation journey, he could smash Tier 3 demons, Divine Altar Realm, with one hit and wrestle with Tier 3 demons, Supernatural, Realm 0 without much of a problem. However, strength was not the only lesson he learned in that experience. That cruel trial revealed to him that his status meant nothing without power. Bai Longxing understood what he needed to do to ensure all the rights and privileges he was afforded before his 5th birthday. He was glad he had learned his lesson since, after the trial, he had to compete with countless others to guarantee his status and rights, and the ruthlessness he acquired became one of the keys to his final victory. Bai Longxing soon arrived at his cave and sat beside the pond. "Why did you warn me to back down? Acting aggressively would have revealed more information and affected your image," said a deep and rough voice. "That's it?" "No. More importantly, he has a warning mark on him." "Warning mark? Isn't that something these transcendent factions would leave on their descendants to warn each other?" Bai Longxing frowned. "All right, he has a connection to some transcendent. Why would we care? The warning reached the level we had to care about." "How high are we speaking of?" "The ceiling of the chaos universe." "Are there people on that level besides Grand Dao?" Bai Longxing asked. "Who knows?" the voice answered. "The world is vast, and even our mansion only knows so much." Bai Longxing contemplated. "Do you think I would lose to him?" "Why do you care?" the voice answered. "The question is, why were you acting so out of character?" The voice knew Bai Longxing was naturally calm and scheming. That's how he could achieve today's status. However, he was overly aggressive toward Wang Wei and even offended him. "Didn't you hear the news about Bai Longxiang?" Bai Longxing replied. "I've been annoyed ever since I heard about it. More importantly, that bastard reminded me of the other unpleasant bastard." Bai Longxing caressed the scar over his left eye. "It's been so long, and you were the final victor," the voice encouraged him. "Is he really dead?" Bai Longxing muttered before shaking his head. "Don't think I didn't notice you didn't answer my question. If you consider aura alone, you only have a 30% chance of victory. However, your technique should be more refined than his by miles, and your actual chances of victory should be close to 80%. "But?" Bai Longxing asked, sensing more. "He's a Dao overlord, and his Fate Dao is known for its versatility, change, and adaptability. If you don't win the fight as soon as possible, he'll steal your technique to improve his, and your chances of winning will decrease to 40% or less. That bastard Chengming should have already laid the foundation for him to know the importance of superior techniques," Bai Longxing said with squinting eyes. "I should warn you that you currently need more allies, not enemies." "I know," Bai Longxing nodded before closing his eyes. "What do you think?" Mu Lei said as he sat opposite his wife, their hands clasped together as they gazed intently at each other. "I think you should join," Tong Ruobing replied without hesitation. "You said it as if it were so simple." "But it is." Mu Lei sighed. "I talked to Ying General," he said while he's tempted. "That meeting has instead ignited his desire to push our true essence lineage to the level of the mansion. I have to say, I'm inclined to agree with him. Those two are not mutually exclusive. You can use the mansion's resources to reach the level to push the true essence lineage to a higher level. Oh, honey, don't act so obtuse. Do you think the mansion would just watch a faction under them reach the same level as them? Do you think we can use their resources without being drawn into their dispute and maybe destroy ourselves in the process? I know this, Tong Ruobing sighed. But things are different now. Everyone already has an inkling that something significant will happen once the lock is broken, and we must prepare. The primeval body mansion can be our backup safety measure. Mu Lei mulled over these words. Tell me honestly, what is this about? What are you really thinking? Honestly, I'm tired of always being one step behind Wang Wei. Everything seemed to be about him in one way or another. This is how things are when someone is the most brilliant star of an entire era or more, Mu Lei replied. The golden era had Wu Hong, and now, their era had Wang Wei, meaning it was a common thing for someone to outshine everyone else in the cultivation world. They had it worse since they had to grow with Wang Wei while most of the powerhouses had reached their full potential during Wu Hong's rise, leaving only a few who were jealous or wanted her for themselves. Well, I'm tired of it, Tong Ruobing said. I want to be the shining star, and the mansion might be the boost we need. But what if Wang Wei also joins the mansion? You saw their clash of ego yourself, Tong Ruobing replied by shaking her head. Not to mention Wang Wei's mindset is more similar to Yin Zhen, the man was loyal to his sect, and with his arrogance, Tong Ruobing did not see how he would join another faction. Even if you are right, do you think my joining can truly help us? Mu Lei countered. Bai Longxing said it himself, I would only be a regular member. You don't have to worry about that. Oh. Tong Ruobing took out a blueprint. You remember how I started tempering my body after losing the Heaven Will battle? I remember you refusing my suggestion and started using the Power Grand Dao source to temper your flesh. It's a faster and more efficient method, so why wouldn't I use it? Tong Ruobing rebutted. Anyways, I recently learned that the Heaven Opening Emperor, one of the primal of the Myriad Clan Union, cultivated Power Dao and the true Power Dao realm. I thought maybe you could do the same and have been researching. You found his secret? No, but I think I may have found an alternative method, Tong Ruobing explained. Your body is like a universe, right? Mu Lei nodded. After reaching the true essence lineage, he changed his cultivation technique to the same one as the body ancestor. He collapsed his colossal beast star body into different aspects of the universe, like the stars, suns, moons, protective films, etc. In other words, Mu Lei's real body is no longer as enormous, but every inch of his flesh now contains the power of a universe. My plan is simple, Tong Ruobing said. I will refine these power talismans for you to include in your body, and the talismans will resonate with the Power Grand Dao source to give you additional boosts and access to the Power Dao. Mu Lei frowned, but you do understand that if the aura of the talismans infects me, I will lose my true Power Dao realm. No, my body would instinctively reject it in the first place. Not if the talismans are an artifact, which is considered a foreign object. Mu Lei's eyes lit up before they diminished. That would work, but it's still a foreign object that can be taken away or tampered with. That's where the issue comes in, Tong Ruobing explained. The best way to solve this problem is to change your Proving Dao artifact to combine Thunder Dao with Power Dao, but you understand the consequences. Mu Lei did. Changing his main Dao can have severe consequences, including the possibility of never improving again. In other words, if he follows this plan, his Emperor/Qi path would have to be completely abandoned as he focused on his essence/body tempering path. This plan may be feasible, Mu Lei uttered. It would not be a big deal if he were no longer a Qi refiner. He was only double cultivated in the first place because he was not fond of how little time Emperor tier body refiners had to live before opening the gate of power. Now that he no longer had to worry about his lifespan, abandoning the Qi path to increase his potential in the essence path was not too big of a sacrifice. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., Please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1458 Death News. How is Dulgun? Wang Wei asked, changing the topic. She's preparing for her battle taboo realm, Monk said with a smile. Oh. What method did she use? The clan prepared a purple Qilin for her, Monk explained. Purple Qilin? If I remember correctly, these creatures like to give all kinds of blessings to different people, including mortals, Wang Wei stated. Purple Qilin were also known as good fortune Qilin due to their ability to bless people with luck and wealth. However, this Qilin breed had many kinds of blessings, including improvement in the cultivation realm or battle strength. That's right, Monk nodded. They matched perfectly with her Dao, so the clan chose them. The plan is to raise the Qilin to the Paragon realm, and then Dulgun will use their soul connection to slowly absorb it into her existence. That's not a bad method, but she should be careful, Wang Wei warned. Even if the creature is bound to her, the instinct to survive will kick in once it's on the verge of death. If she's not careful, she might be swallowed instead. We know, and that's why we are taking our time. That's good to hear, Wang Wei nodded. Well, send her my best regards. The two chatted for a few more hours before Wang Wei left. He had a meeting with Su Dandan at his mountain, and she waited patiently for his return. Do you know why I wanted to talk to you? Wang Wei asked as he invited her to sit opposite him. It should be about the primeval body mansion, Su Dandan replied calmly. Continue. Do you want me to join? That's right, Wang Wei nodded. Our world is about to experience a catastrophe, meaning it's time for our sect to prepare an exit strategy in case we face extinction. Su Dandan frowned after hearing these words. Do you think I'm overreacting? Our sect is one of the most powerful overlords. How can we face extinction? You're now an inextinguishable paragon, so there are certain things you can be privy to, Wang Wei stated before condensing an information talisman to briefly explain the threat the world will soon face. Su Dandan's facial expression became graver with each passing second she read the information. I didn't expect so many secrets and mysteries to be involved, she exclaimed. The chaos and danger is an opportunity for us, but we also need to prepare for the worst, and that's where the mansion will come in. Su Dandan took a deep breath. I have no problem joining the mansion. She was part of the sect and was willing to contribute however she could. But do I have to, you know? Oh, no, you don't have to marry Bai Longsheng. In fact, the last thing we want is for you to be so involved with him, Wang Wei immediately stated. That's a relief, she uttered under her breath. Bai Longsheng might be handsome, charismatic, powerful, and from the best background in the Chaos universe. However, Su Dandan found it a major turnoff that he had over 1 million wives and concubines. Your objective in joining the mansion is for the sect's future, so the last thing we want is for you to get drawn into their internal competition, Wang Wei warned. After you get there, you must put the sect's benefit above anything else. No matter what decision you make, even if it means decreasing your opportunity, you must consider how it will affect the sect. If you can't decide, contact me, and I will help you analyze the pros and cons. I understand. Wang Wei looked her in the eyes. I know this is unfair to you, but what you have to understand is our sect has the potential to reach the level of the mansion. However, we are young and still have many things to overcome before we get there. So, no matter how many opportunities you'll miss, remember that the sect will make it up for you one day. I know when to sacrifice for the greater good, Su Dandan replied. Good, Wang Wei praised. When do I leave? It's best to leave after the lock, Wang Wei stated. Although Su Dandan could leave with Bai Longsheng during the trial, he felt it would be best to wait until she met the ancestors before leaving. The ancestors are a greater voice of authority for someone like Su Dandan, so their brainwashing should be more effective than anything he says to her today. One more thing, Wang Wei added. Once the ancestors return, they should authorize all clans to condense their fiend god bloodline. Bai Longsheng values you because of your pure path, so don't immediately condense your bloodline. Instead, wait until you reach the mansion and have a master to consult whether this path suits you. I will. The conversation ended, and Wang Wei went about his business. 3,000 years passed, and in this duration, his cultivation reached the fifth heaven, his body refining reached the fifth heaven of the elder fiend god realm, and he spent thousands of years fighting against the absolute killer. Something is wrong, Wang Wei thought after dying again. In the past 1,000 years, he has improved his skill to survive more than a year against this absolute killer, which was a drastic improvement given that he could only survive half an hour before. However, this man was too powerful for him to overcome after even 1,000 years. There are two possibilities, Wang Wei thought. First, these bastard spirits have raised his ability to ensure I continue using points. Secondly, I'm missing a piece of key information on how to defend against him. The absolute killer existed in the Soul Age, which is an unofficial age as that period is more classified as the early period of the Paragon Age. I don't believe that in all this time, talents like my wife or my ancestors have not created a method to counter the absolute killer's ability. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if the Heart Desire Palace created a method to avenge the humiliation their ancestors faced at this man's hands. Wang Wei squinted his eyes. The answer to this question was probably a combination of both. These spirits definitely increased the difficulty, but Wang Wei was also missing something. After the lock, the wife should continue training me. Better yet, I should probably learn from all the ancestors. Wang Wei looked in the distance as it was time for him to leave. The competition had ended, and the spirits had already contacted him that there would be a ceremony before the end of the trial. Additionally, Tian has been contacting him non-stop to refine that artifact for him, but Wang Wei has been purposely delaying. The trial should end in less than 10,000 years. It's time to prepare, he muttered before leaving the battle tower. As soon as he returned to his residence, Red Mask materialized to give him a summary of everything he missed. So much bad news. Wang Wei exclaimed slightly. The first thing on the list was that Shi failed her immeasurable tribulation and died. The poor girl, Wang Wei sighed, but he was not too surprised. Shi lost her resolve after reuniting her family, so it was understandable she would die in the tribulation. However, the following news of death surprised him. I didn't think Hong Miling wouldn't make it, Wang Wei uttered. I wonder how the future wife will take it. Although Wu Hong never showed it, he did appreciate her somewhat. She just wanted her to meet a certain standard before pouring all her intentions into Hong Miling. Unfortunately, that was no longer possible. Yi Dafa's wife is dead? Wang Wei was immediately suspicious after hearing that news. Yi Dafa's wife, the noble serpent empress, had one of the most unique bloodlines among demons, the Nine Serpent Monarch bloodline. With the right resources and training, she should be one of the most powerful demons in existence. So, how could she die under the immeasurable tribulation? She was young and had to rush to the peak of Empyrean, but Yi Dafu and the demon race should have warned her. Plus, it's hard for someone with her destiny to die during a tribulation unless something goes wrong, Wang Wei muttered. He was now more convinced that Yi Dafu had somehow inherited Sun Wukong's spirit and fate was guiding him to wreak havoc in the underworld. Wang Wei shook his head and continued reading as more people died. He stopped since the following list involved his people. The first person he had lost was the flesh demon. The latter failed his true power Dao tribulation and turned into dust. It's a shame, Wang Wei sighed. He had successfully molded the flesh demon into an ambitious body refiner. Now, everything was gone. The greater shame is Yang Guowai's death, he sighed. The latter had just entered his servitude, and he even granted him a Paragon pill to heal his mother. Yet, his investment failed before getting any benefit/reward. And I still have to bring the news to his mother, Wang Wei grunted. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1459 Things are in motion, poor woman, Wang Wei sighed. Her husband was a jealous, controlling jerk who died miserably. And now, her son is gone. I hope she takes the news well. Wang Wei continued overviewing the information. The people from the Divine Faith Haven were gone. Most of them were assassinated before even having the opportunity to enter the Tribulation Tower. The rest of their people had their trial tampered with by Red Mask to ensure they died during the immeasurable tribulation. In other words, it will be virtually impossible to detect whether someone did it. The Divine Faith Haven should expect assassination attempts, but they could not fathom someone messing with the tribulation. Of course, they will suspect something when all their members die, but the tribulation should have wiped out all signs of tempering. The other victims Wang Wei learned about were Paragon Jimin's people. Old Ma successfully became a regular Paragon, but the others died. Another sad victim was Shi Rulan, the girl with the emperor bone physique. The girl was only a great emperor, but she somehow came here with the Souther Chu dynasty to participate in the trial. She entered the Empyrean realm with record pace but died during the tribulation. Is this backlash for the Earth Emperor's actions? Wang Wei thought. The parasites did so much damage, so it's not out of the ordinary that their descendants paid the price for their actions. However, it's hard to say since the third prince is perfectly fine. It's probably more the fact she rushed her cultivation, resulting in a shaky foundation. Shi Rulan could have taken the time to try to awaken her physique. Although rare, there have been records of the Emperor physique awakening a second and third time, resulting in heavenly Tao granting the owner heaven wills to use without becoming a heaven will emperor or any repercussions. Unfortunately, Shi Rulan seemed in a hurry, resulting in her untimely death. The last news of death Wang Wei received was from his sect. Among the 9 people he brought, 4 died, and 5 succeeded. Of course, there is also Yan Jia, who became a paragon. 6 out of 10 is not bad, he commented. And if he considered himself, their final statistic was 7 out of 11. Wang Wei moved on to other significant news, putting all these deaths behind him. Transcendent factions captured Hufeng Huang, Ao Shen, Jin Biyu, and Jian Wushuang. That's right, Red Mask nodded. These factions had no interest in those casual cultivators and targeted people from high backgrounds. A few successfully escaped, but those were not so lucky. Those people were quiet before but starting to move now, meaning my conjecture was right. They are about to take action, Wang Wei commented with a furrowed brow. He pondered briefly before asking his next question. What do you mean by putting Emperor Kong's name in the same place as this news? He has been contacting the other lineages to plan a rescue mission, Red Mask stated. I'm aware, Wang Wei replied. Her briefing included such information. His behavior is odd, Red Mask emphasized. Because he didn't contact me? That's right, she nodded. His character profile indicated that in such a situation, he would contact you first to get a feeling of what you plan to do. However, this time, he moved on and was very active. Now he's a paragon, it's normal for him to be more confident and treat me with more caution, Wang Wei uttered calmly. However, his behavior has strained away enough from the standard to warrant paying attention. Do you want me to observe him closely? Red Mask asked. Not now, Wang Wei replied. I see. Then, what about the kidnapped participants? They cannot fall in these people's hands, even if we have to silence them, we must not allow that to happen, Wang Wei stated calmly. With these transcendent factions, it's only a matter of time before they break through Heavenly Daos, history lock, and these kidnapped participants know too much information about the world and, more importantly, about him. You can aid Kong in his rescue mission, but do it quietly without being noticed. As you wish, but what should I do if he fails? Then, I'll decide whether to rescue them myself or eliminate them. Red Mask nodded, and Wang Wei continued his reading. There was nothing much of value left. The poison demoness, Jia Ping, and the flame blacksmith had successfully become paragons, increasing Wang Wei's cards. The last thing he needed to take notice of was the final result of the competition. Tian Xian and Emperor Kong took the 2 spots in the 4th heaven, Lin Fan and Wang Fushuan took one position each from the third heaven, and Sun Juniao took one place in the second heaven. A few of his acquaintances decided to take it slow and even started their battle taboo journey instead. No one from these transcendent factions appeared on the list. Things are slowly but surely intensifying, Wang Wei muttered as he placed the talisman away. He looked at Red Mask. How is your infiltration task going? I have chosen the loose cultivators to use as incubators to infiltrate these foreign chaos worlds. And you're confident your method will not be detected? Wang Wei asked. I've added the Heaven Deception Array to my methods. I've even tested it on these transcendent factions, and so far, they haven't detected anything yet. Good work, but you should not be cocky. I won't make such low mistakes. Wang Wei nodded. Tell me your plan in detail. I've planted seeds in these loose cultivators that can summon our fate shadow guards to their chaos worlds, Red Mask explained. Once they arrive, their objective will be to create a communication base to ensure your soul network can function smoothly in these worlds without interruption or detection. Wang Wei nodded. His soul network will be the best way for him to spy on these worlds and keep himself up to date for the upcoming catastrophe. And with these bases, he doesn't have to spend countless yuan epochs to establish a connection with one world. What about the chaos worlds of these transcendent factions? When they are slightly distracted toward this trial, I will send my best agents to build bases with the Heaven Deception Array to ensure we are not detected. No, I can't trust anyone else with this mission, you must do it yourself. But Lord, who will serve you if I'm gone? The Xia clan will serve me in your absence, Wang Wei said. Plus, I have another objective for sending you out. I understand. This is what you need to know and do for your mission. Wang Wei pointed at her brow to send the information directly into her mind. Red Mask bowed before disappearing into the shadow. Wang Wei mulled over his next plan, including preparation for the immediate future after the trial. Then, he summoned two people. Lord, the Poison Demoness and the Flame Blacksmith saluted. The two came amongst the loose cultivators, making this meeting their first since the trial's start. You did not disappoint me, Wang Wei praised. Thank you, Lord, for this opportunity, the Demoness said sincerely. Meanwhile, the Flame Blacksmith cupped his hands to show respect and thanks. I merely provide you with an opportunity, it's your talent and ability that you could seize it, Wang Wei replied casually. Enough with the formalities. I need you guys to do something for me. Wang Wei handed them a talisman containing designs, or better yet, requirements, for a weapon and a poison. Can you do it? Under normal circumstances, this would be way out of my capabilities, the Flame Blacksmith analyzed. However, as you suggested, with the trial's unique power, should be able to succeed. It's the same for me, the Poison Demoness added with shining eyes. As a poison master, she enjoyed nothing more than creating powerful but potent poison. And if she can refine this poison, it will be her greatest masterpiece. Tell me what you need, Wang Wei asked. I heard you can exchange materials in the new refining tower, so I will need a significant amount of points, the Flame Blacksmith replied without hesitation. I need to experiment before refining this level of poisons, so I will also need a lot of points, the Demoness added. I'll take care of everything, Wang Wei reassured them before immediately investing the remaining points he had as the first investment. Then, he breathed in relief as he watched them leave. With them, the plan to eliminate the block has a higher chance of success. Wang Wei left his mountain to check on the princess of the refining tower. As expected, Tian had left him a secret message. The latter was getting impatient. Wang Wei shamelessly asked him for points to finance his two employees, trying to reduce the cost he had to bear. He returned to his hunt after leaving the message. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know it report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1460 The Tipping Point is approaching, unedited chapter. Tian begrudgingly paid the money, allowing Wang Wei to reduce his hunting time by a decent margin. Then, he headed directly to the refining tower, paying for the best room. Wang Wei found himself floating on top of a volcano, sitting cross-legged with a screen projection before him, scrolling through their lists of materials. "It's pretty extensive," Wang Wei commented. Wuhang's library contained knowledge from the entire Chaos universe, allowing Wang Wei to recognize most of the things on the list. Unfortunately, he never finished reading everything in the library, and there were also new discoveries and creations since Wuhang last updated her library. Luckily, there were descriptions of the materials sold. The list of spiritual herbs seemed limited, Wang Wei noticed before sneering. He instantly deduced why. These spirits wanted people to use their trials to increase their strength, not rare herbs or pills. So, they added herbs that can be used to create poisons or destructive-type pills instead of the ones that can nourish the body and soul. Wang Wei shook his head before choosing the materials he needed. However, he did not only buy the materials for Tian Xian's artifacts. He purchased materials for 3 artifacts, including a few rare ones for his Proving Dao artifact. He did not waste time and activated the Heaven Deception Array he placed in this room. He did not trust these spirits, so he hid the information on whatever he refined in the tower. Wang Wei changed the environment into a world of white flame. He then snapped his finger to manifest a projection of a library representing all the knowledge he had acquired. Books or scrolls rushed from the library into the flame, slowly turning it into the color green. After the flame transformation ended, Wang Wei placed an ore at the center of the flame that resembled a black ostrich egg. The skill ore, also called the knowledge absorber steel, was the core of Tian Xian's artifact since Wang Wei wanted the artifact to have the same ability as his technique. He could have used regular flames to melt it, but Wang Wei's refining Grand Dao source was only in the Emperor realm, meaning he needed innovative ways to bring out the full effect of the materials. While the skill ore melted, Wang Wei focused on the other primary materials. The first was the magnifying wood, which will work with the skill ore to ensure the artifact accomplishes the task of observing the existence. The second was the silent crystal, which would reduce the chances of others noticing the spying. Under normal circumstances, Wang Wei would have not put this material in, but since he chose an alliance with Tian Xian, he decided to be generous. The third primary material is the order disorder sand, allowing him to place certain conditions on the artifact. Wang Wei added this thing to prevent Tian Xian from breaking down the artifact to learn his technique. Although their contract stated this was not allowed, Wang Wei also wanted to put in a backup measure in case he was betrayed. Wang Wei had to create separate environments to melt these primary materials while he dealt with the secondary materials the old-fashioned way. Then, he proceeded to the second stage of the refining by condensing a cauldron with his Proving Dao artifact. He fused these ores together before molding them into the shape of an eye. This process should have taken Yuan epochs, but as is the theme of this trial, the tower made everybody's life easier by accelerating everything. Wang Wei then moved to the third step, rune engraving. He chose a simple path for this process since his refining level would limit his achievements by engraving the observation rune and the heaven rune. He did not even use the method most non-refiners used when making an artifact called stacking. Stacking is based on using numbers to make up for the quality. In other words, Wang Wei should have engraved billions, if not more, of these 2 runes to make up for his Grand Dao source. However, he did this because he had another approach. What Wang Wei lacked in ability or technique, he made up for his affinity for the power of the Grand Dao source. The next step of the refining process was the nourishment of the Grand Dao source, and that's Wang Wei's expertise. He siphoned an unparalleled amount of power from the source to nourish his 2 runes, allowing them to reach a decent quality level among Paragon artifacts. Finally, Wang Wei calmly watched the artifact experience its tribulation. Bolts of lightning descended from the sky, but Wang Wei never interfered. The limited consciousness he provided the artifact activated, and it fought for its life. Luckily, Wang Wei was a typical cultivator of the eternal ascension world and did not create an artifact spirit. Otherwise, the artifact would have an additional tribulation called the spirit nurturing tribulation. Maybe Tian Xian will build an artifact soul and deal with that tribulation, but by then, this will no longer be Wang Wei's problem. The clouds in the sky disappeared, and the black eye with silver designs slowly floated to his palm. A level of 95% and an excellent quality. It's not too bad. Paragon artifacts are rated based on which cultivation realm can utilize their full potential and standard quality of inferior, mediocre, normal, good, excellent, perfection, and ultimate. Wang Wei waved his hand and teleported the artifact away to the Dao Tower. As the first on the list, he had the power to use 2 towers at once. Wang Wei would not pass this chance by, so he left a clone in the Dao Tower to use its power to analyze Chengming's techniques and update his own. Once he's done, Tian can enter the first room and take his artifact. However, Wang Wei was not finished. No, he immediately started refining a second artifact. He even activated all his Grand Dao boosts to ensure he was at his best to refine this artifact. For the first step of this artifact, he summoned the River of Time's projection, using countless destiny and fate-related materials, along with materials that complemented the Heaven Deception Array. However, it was apparent he was not using them to improve his Proving Dao artifact. Additionally, Wang Wei created an artifact spirit, and he modeled it after some aspects of his existence, including the parts about his fate seed status. Wang Wei held the artifact that resembled a seed in his palm, and his eyes shone with brilliant light. 100% and excellent. It seems I can't achieve perfection without the right Dao. He shook his head before putting it away. He left the tower, immediately calculating how long had passed. More than 7,000 years, Wang Wei thought as he looked at the sky. They are about to move. Everything looked ordinary on the surface, but he detected turbulence in the river of fate, which signaled the upcoming turmoil. Wang Wei knew time was of the essence, so he teleported home. As usual, Red Mask showed up to report to him. There is nothing much to report except for a few people's success. I see, Wang Wei nodded. How is Kong doing? He's waiting for the chaos to erupt to enact his plan. That's a smart move, Wang Wei nodded. How are your preparations? Everything is ready. With one word, I can depart. Good. You only need to do one more thing for me. Once you're done, leave immediately, Wang Wei said as he transferred the knowledge into her mind with his divine sense. Red Mask bowed before disappearing. Wang Wei contacted the surviving members of his sect. He uttered as he looked at one of the survivors. Her name was Tang Lihua. The Tang clan had a fascinating history. Their ancestors were once the leaders of the Eternal Dream sect, one of the Dao Opening sect's most loyal allies in the lower dimension. Their clan was on the verge of extinction, and the sect intervened to save them. The rulers of the Eternal Dream sect then decided to merge into the Dao Opening sect, becoming one of the main clans. Wang Wei noticed Tang Lihua because he realized she attempted Battle Taboo Realm and failed, just like Wang Teshuan. However, despite her failure, she also came close, and her foundation was more solid than ever. She did not have that level of prospect, Wang Wei contemplated and immediately read her fate line to learn the truth. Tang Lihua killed a loose cultivator and discovered a dream technique that was very suitable for her. This technique was created by someone who wanted to enter the Battle Taboo Realm and failed. Tang Lihua thought she could succeed and tried. Is she lucky, or is this a trap? Wang Wei observed her existence, and as expected, it was a trap. He waved his hand, and she flew to him. He pressed numerous acupoints around her body, and Tang Lihua fell on the floor, crying in agony. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know if you report so we can fix it as soon as possible. When Serenity's ghost punched him, he lost his fist without even putting a dent in his protection. Liberation of idea. Wang Wei waved his hand to summon a pillar of light that bombarded Serenity's ghost. The latter screamed as a force was constantly trying to force him to abandon his grudge and vendetta, but the obsession in his body would never accept this outcome. Serenity's ghost fought back with his own technique, society retribution. Cultivators had rules and laws they had to follow, and their primary difference from mortals was that they did not hold each other accountable. It was Heavenly Dao's job to keep them in check. So, with this technique, Serenity's ghost essentially summoned the power of the law to punish Wang Wei. Divine punishment, Wang Wei thought as he looked at the dark clouds above. Should I use this opportunity to remove more of my fate seed status? However, he immediately abandoned this idea since that thunder was not enough. Additionally, it was not the time to be doing something like that. Numerous thoughts flashed in his mind. He had plenty of ways to deal with this attack, with the easiest being using his freedom Dao to escape all punishments or laws placed on him. However, he had a better idea. Boom! The lightning bolt descended from the sky, and Wang Wei fought it. He screamed in agony as the thunder scorched his body, burned his soul, and sundered his mind. A massive yin-yang symbol materialized above his head to protect himself, but it was useless. Wang Wei's screams echoed between heaven and earth. Yes, 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 Serenity's ghost said. This beautiful sound of pure agony, I have been waiting so long to hear it. He waved his hand to cast another spell, pain penalty. Wang Wei's lips secretly twitched. For all his life, he has been the one who increased people's pain, not the other way around. Regardless, since he was performing, he had to make it believable. So, his voice increased by a few octaves, and his body started twitching uncontrollably in certain places. Serenity's ghost was not finished, as he added a few more penalties to Wang Wei, ensuring he suffered to the fullest extent. By the time he stopped, Wang Wei wasn't wholly acting as the pain had reached the threshold of his willpower. You might be an immoral piece of shit who thought no laws could judge you, but you were wrong, Serenity's ghost said as he approached. There is justice in the world, and retribution always comes for people like yourself. Wang Wei knelt on the ground with his black and white robe tattered and his hair disheveled. He glanced at his enemy with hatred, anger, and regret. Is that regret I sensed? What? Regret what you've done? I regret, I didn't kill all of you, Wang Wei answered with gritted teeth. Good, 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 Serenity's ghost uttered. My greatest fear is you would be a coward that asked for mercy, that begged for his life. It would be too disappointing if you were this weak-willed.